Chapter 1286. The Myriad Devil Islands was a world independent of the immortal realms and was established by the Myriad Devil Sovereign. The Myriad Devil Sovereign was just a title. In the outside world, no one knew if there was only one Myriad Devil Sovereign or if there were multiple Myriad Devil Sovereigns. The Myriad Devil Sovereign was the sovereign of the Myriad Devil Islands. He was the belief of the entire Myriad Devil Islands. In the entire Myriad Devil Islands, the only place that might know about the Myriad Devil Sovereign was naturally that legendary place, the Devil Mountain. There were many places in the Myriad Devil Islands that could be referred to as Devil Mountains. But in the legends, there could only be a single Devil Mountain. That Devil Mountain that towered into the sky was personally established by the Myriad Devil Sovereign. It was a supreme place, and to countless people, it was also a legendary place. The reason why the Myriad Devil Islands could cause immortal emperors of the immortal realms to be forbidden from entering, causing immortal emperors of the immortal realms to feel trepidation, was because of the legendary Devil Mountain. The Devil Mountain was just a mountain. Everyone could see it, but they had no way to reach it. Every year, every month, every day, there would be people dying on the way to the Devil Mountain. At this moment, at the foot of the Devil Mountain, there were many figures staring up at the sky. That illusory Devil Mountain simply stood there, so close yet so far away at the same time. There was only a single path leading to the Devil Mountain, the path of seeking the devil. It was unknown how many geniuses had died on this path, but there were still people who tried day after day, wanting to reach that legendary place. Naturally, since there was a path, there were naturally people who would succeed. In the air, within the Devil Mountain, this legendary place was no different from the outside world. There were still devil emperors everywhere, and the atmosphere was solemn. One of the devil halls exuded an ancient and peaceful aura, not even a hint of devil chi could be sensed. However, below this devil hall, there were many figures respectfully kneeling on the ground. The identities of these people, any one of them could shock an entire region. Many of them were geniuses at the peak of the devil regions, and some were even descendants of powerful devil emperors. But it was precisely this group of people who came to the Devil Mountain and knelt here. Nobody felt anything was wrong, everything was so natural. Because, this was the Devil Mountain, the place closest to the Myriad Devil Sovereign. In the Myriad Devil Islands, many hegemons of the devil regions had all descended from here, becoming a hegemon of a region. This Devil Mountain was a place of faith for the Myriad Devil Islands. You've come to the wrong place. At this moment, a silhouette drifted over. After which, a silhouette slowly walked up the stairs. This silhouette's appearance wasn't outstanding, neither was his clothing. But as long as one looked at him, it would be extremely hard to forget him. Because, his demeanor was simply too outstanding. Temperament was formless and indescribable. However, this young man wearing a simple gown had such a temperament. He stood there, ordinary yet extraordinary. This devil hall doesn't accept disciples. The young man said with a smile. His voice was very gentle and calm as he spoke to the group of people kneeling there. Please guide me, someone bowed and said. Since you all ascended the Devil Mountain, it means that you all have fate with the Devil Mountain. However, your fate clearly isn't with this Devil Hall. You all should go to the Sky Devil Hall. Maybe, you all might like that place. The young man smiled. The eyes of everyone flashed as they all knelt on the ground, many thanks. After that, they all retreated, not stopping. Since someone said that they had no fate with this Devil Hall, it was naturally true that they weren't fated. The people on the Devil Mountain most probably wouldn't lie to them. Is there no one you like? Another voice drifted over. This time, it was directed at the young man. A skinny old man suddenly walked out, as though he was walking out from the void. So what if I like them or not? The young man replied. If you like them, you can let them be your devil children. The old man calmly spoke. Devil children were equivalent to subordinates. If this was in the outside world and someone said that they wanted to recruit descendants of devil emperors as devil children, they would surely be laughed at. However, the young man merely smiled and shook his head. I don't need them. That's right. If you need them, you can go to the Sky Devil Hall and choose them yourself. The old man laughed. Can I go to the Judiciary Hall to choose? The young man laughed. The temper of the people from the Judiciary Hall isn't too good. It's best if you don't go. The old man laughed. Forget it then. The young man seemed to feel that it was a pity. This time around, do you have any instructions for me? You can go down the mountain, there's no need for any instructions. The old man replied. I initially thought you would want me to kill all those peak geniuses who entered the myriad devil islands. The young man laughed again, as though he was speaking of an extremely ordinary matter. This place was very far away from the fallen devil island, but this young man actually knew that many peak geniuses of the immortal realms had entered the myriad devil islands. This might seem very unbelievable, but he did know, and he knew very clearly. Because, this place was the Devil Mountain. Why must we kill them all? The old man asked. This time around, those who entered the myriad devil islands are all descendants of the peak geniuses of the immortal realms. If we kill them all, there might be fewer immortal emperors in the future. The young man replied. Under the devilish light of the myriad devil sovereign, if we rely on killing a few descendants to guard against the future, it would be disrespectful to him. You should have long understood that true strength doesn't depend on weakening your opponents. Rather, it depends on yourself being strong enough. And if you want to be strong enough, sometimes, powerful opponents are a must. I naturally understand. The young man nodded. You can go down the mountain. The old man nodded. Maybe, I will go to the immortal realms to take a look. The young man didn't leave and continued. Follow your heart. The old man turned and left. The young man turned and descended the mountain. In the fallen devil region, the army of the vast Sky Devil Emperor stationed here caused a huge commotion on the fallen devil island. In fact, news of this gradually circulated towards the fallen devil region. The news of Old Xia Devil King's death caused the entire fallen devil island to tremble violently. Great waves of shock rose in the hearts of many. The fallen devil emperor's best friend, the powerful Old Xia Devil King, actually died because of Qin Wentian. Many people asked those who attended the birthday banquet of the fallen devil emperor exactly what happened that day. When those people recalled, they were filled with emotions. They could still remember how high-spirited the Old Xia Devil King was back then, and how unwilling Qin Wentian was when he rejected the reward. The Old Xia Devil King bullied Qin Wentian because he was weak and had no background. But who would have thought that the tables would turn so quickly? Qin Wentian brought the Black Jiao Devil King here to take his life. Recently, the Royal Devil sect was extremely low profile. Maybe Qin Wentian wasn't very clear about this, but who on the fallen devil island didn't know that among the 3 devil kings who pursued Qin Wentian back then, other than the subordinates of the Old Xia Devil King and the Black Jiao Devil King, there was also an expert from the Royal Devil sect. How could the Royal Devil sect not be low profile? But what should be known would still be known. Today, Qin Wentian entered the Royal Devil sect with over 10 powerful devil kings. Since the vast Sky Devil Emperor agreed to his request, he was also very cooperative. Other than the final battle with the fallen Devil Emperor, the other things Qin Wentian requested were all done according to Qin Wentian's requests. Qin Wentian told the vast Sky Devil Emperor to send many devil kings to the various devil islands in the fallen devil region, to negotiate with the lords of those islands. The vast Sky Devil Emperor agreed. No matter where he went, there would be a group of extremely powerful devil kings following him, protecting his safety. The fallen devil emperor naturally wouldn't act. With the vast Sky Devil Emperor by his side, he wouldn't be able to leave as well. But who knew if the descendants of the Old Xia Devil King would act against Qin Wentian? The experts of the Royal Devil sect were all trembling in fear. The sect leader personally came out to welcome Qin Wentian. Sir Qin, please pardon me for not going out to meet you. You're too polite. Qin Wentian stared at the imposing Devil King before him as he smiled. I heard that one of the 3 Devil Kings who pursued me back then was from the Royal Devil sect. Is it because of the death of Ba Shao that you want to vent your anger on me? The matters back then were all done by some people. Sir Qin, since you speak the word, I will capture him and let Sir Qin deal with him as you see fit. The sect leader of the Royal Devil sect spoke, his attitude was extremely friendly. Qin Wendian already brought the vast Sky Devil Emperor with him. For a character like the old Xia Devil King to die just like that, how would he dare to be impolite? I don't dare to. Qin Wendian replied. Naturally, I know this wouldn't be able to make up for the harm I've done to Sir Qin. If Sir Qin has any requests, please feel free to speak. The sect leader of the Royal Devil sect wouldn't simply believe that Qin Wendian wouldn't dare to do so. I, Qin, would like to ask the Royal Devil sect for a small favor. Qin Wendian smiled. I will listen to Sir Qin's instructions. The Royal Devil sect leader replied. Senior, please send some experts from your sect to a certain devil island and help me hunt down some people. Qin Wendian spoke. Who? Huang Shatian and the people around him. Qin Wendian replied. Right. The sect leader of the Royal Devil sect directly agreed. How could he say no? In that case, I'll have to thank Senior for your help. Qin Wendian politely smiled. However, who does Senior intend to send to lead this hunt? Is it possible for the Senior beside me to leave a strand of devil sense in him? Naturally. The Royal Devil sect leader nodded. Qin Wendian wanted to monitor them to see if they did their best. The two of them feigned civility. After that, the Royal Devil sect leader selected a batch of devil kings, leaving behind a strand of devil sense from a devil king beside Qin Wendian. After that, an army of devil kings set off in a grandiose manner. The number of people the fallen devil emperor had was very limited. In addition, hunting down Huang Shatian wasn't a very safe thing to do. It would be best if the Royal Devil sect was the one to do it. Even if they couldn't kill Huang Shatian, at the very least, they would make sure he wouldn't have time to deal with the adjudication battle. After leaving the Royal Devil sect, Qin Wendian flew in another direction, in the direction of the Celestial Devil Lodge. Not long after, Qin Wendian arrived outside the Celestial Devil Lodge. He thought that he wouldn't be able to come back here anymore, but he still came here. A group of maidens appearing before Qin Wendian. For a period of time, beauties were as common as the clouds in front of Qin Wendian. Some of these maidens had seen Qin Wendian before. Their beautiful eyes all gleamed with a strange light. We pay our respects to Sir Qin. The maidens bowed. I want to meet with your lodge lord. Qin Wendian directly spoke. Chapter 1287. Qida and the others said that Xianyu returned to the fallen devil island. In that case, she would most probably return to the Celestial Devil Lodge. Sir Qin, please follow me. A maiden spoke gently, leading the way. Qin Wendian followed her into the lodge. The maidens all felt some emotions in their hearts when they stared at his back. Back then when Xianyu first met Qin Wendian, she already had a whole new level of respect for him. Even Ba Xiao didn't receive such treatment. At that time, some of the maidens still felt that it was unbelievable. However, time proved how good Xianyu's judgment was. Ba Xiao, who was ranked on the devil rankings back then, didn't even have the qualifications to be mentioned in the same breath as this young man before them. Within the Celestial Devil Lodge, in a place with an elegant environment, the lodge lord sat by a lake. When Qin Wendian walked over, she stood up and smiled. I long knew that Sir Qin would come here, but I didn't expect you to come so quickly. Qin Wendian didn't look at the lodge lord. He was staring at the maiden beside her who was pouring tea for her. This maiden was beautiful and dignified. She no longer exuded the charm of the past, but had more elegance. She was none other than Xianyu. Sir Qin, please have some tea. Xianyu passed a cup of tea to Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian stared at the smile in her eyes. There were no fluctuations at all. Sir Qin, please take a seat and have some tea. The lodge lord couldn't help but speak when she saw Qin Wendian standing there in a daze. Qin Wendian nodded lightly and sat down. Xinu passed the cup of tea to Qin Wentian before retreating to the back of the lodge lord. Your Mercury Lady Devil art has dissipated. Qin Wentian inclined his head and spoke to Xinu. Xinu smiled, she didn't say anything. She no longer exuded that charm of the past, but she was still as beautiful as ever. Xinu, are you willing to leave with me? Qin Wentian asked. Xinu still had a smile on her face. She lowered her body and poured a cup of tea for the lodge lord. Xinu plans to serve lodge lord in the future. Lord. Qin Wentian stared at the hostess. She was an extremely charming woman. If she were to activate the Mercury Lady demonic art, even Qin Wentian would not be able to withstand it. If Xinu leaves with Sir Qin, what would she do? The lodge lord smiled as she asked. Qin Wentian's gaze stiffened. I will treat her well, Qin Wentian said. The lodge lord shook her head. Sir Qin only feels guilt in your heart and feels that you owe Xinu. If Xinu were to follow Sir Qin, it would only add to your unhappiness. Why not let her stay by my side? I will naturally take care of her. Qin Wentian was speechless. He knew that Qin Wentian was speaking the truth. If he brought Xinu away, although he wouldn't mistreat her, what was the relationship between the two of them? Sir Qin, the lodge lord treats me very well, you can be at ease. In addition, there's no need for Sir Qin to feel guilty. This is Xinu's fate, even if it wasn't Sir Qin, it would be someone else. Xinu smiled. When Qin Wentian heard her words, he actually didn't know what to say. Clearly, she intentionally said this. Xinu, are you really not willing to leave with me? Qin Wentian asked. Xinu is already used to the lifestyle in the Celestial Devil Lodge. If I follow Sir Qin to the immortal realms alone, I would feel even more uncomfortable. Could it be that Sir Qin can bring Xinu along with you at all times? Xinu shook her head and smiled. Qin Wentian silently lifted his teacup and drank a mouthful before placing it down. He stood up and walked to the side of Xinu, holding her hand. Xinu inclined her head and smiled at him. Seems like you have already made your decision in your heart. I won't be able to change your mind. However, if there's a day when I change my mind, I can get the lodge lord to bring you to the immortal Qianbian gate. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. After that, he embraced Xinu in his embrace. After a moment, he released her and turned to the lodge lord. If Xinu wishes to go, I hope that lodge lord will agree to it. If I, Qin, meet lodge lord and Xinu in the immortal realms, I will definitely give you a great gift. I will remember Sir Qin's words. The lodge lord smiled and nodded. I, Qin, bid my farewell. Qin Wentian spoke. After that, he caressed Xinu's face and turned to leave this place, heading towards the exit of the Celestial Devil Lodge. After Qin Wentian left, the others all left as well, leaving only the lodge lord and Xinu behind. Only to see that Xinu's aura instantly withered. Her entire person seemed to be extremely weak as she softly fell onto the ground. The lodge lord caught her and placed her beside her as she spoke in a light voice. Why must you do this? For him, you paid a price that is even more painful than what you expected. Lodge lord, isn't this the fate of us sisters? Xinu's eyes were filled with tears, but she still had a smile on her face. Yes, it's fate. However, your sisters all hope to find a future within their fates. As for you, your future is right before your eyes, yet you chose to give it up. Isn't this the dream of all the women of the Celestial Devil Lodge? The lodge lord shook her head and sighed. For us sisters of the Celestial Devil Lodge, everything is voluntary. The lodge lord doesn't force us either. Isn't it precisely because we want to find a man that we can fall in love with? I think it would be extremely difficult to find a man like Sir Qin in the future. Xinu spoke in a light voice. As for the future, Sir Qin only feels guilt. Could it be that lodge lord thinks that given my current state, as well as my identity, I would be able to stay by his side forever? One of his wives is his childhood sweetheart. His fiancée is the daughter of an immortal emperor, a personal disciple of an immortal emperor. They have been in love for many years. What can I count as? If I follow Sir Qin, not only would I sully his reputation, I would also be condemned by the masses. Given his status and identity, if he brings you back to the immortal realms, he would definitely be able to restore your body. Could it be that you are only thinking for him and not for yourself? The Lodge Lord didn't understand why there would be someone like Xinu in the Celestial Devil Lodge. Xinu smiled, her gaze staring into the distance as she mumbled, "Lodge Lord, I've personally witnessed his magnificence on the battlefield." At that time, he was at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon, fighting against Huang Shatian, incomparably dazzling. I even personally saw him slaying 3 great devil kings despite being injured. And now, I've personally witnessed him bringing the vast Sky Devil Emperor and an army of devil sects over, killing the old Xia Devil King and coming to the Celestial Devil Lodge to fetch me. This is already enough. One day, he would definitely be the one sitting on the throne in the starry space. At that time, everyone in the world would look up to the woman beside him. As for me, I'm not worthy to be that woman. The Lodge Lord stared at the smile on Xinu's face as she listened to her weak voice. Her heart trembled violently. It was very rare for her to be moved by the words of a junior. But at this moment, her heart was trembling lightly. Even for her, she didn't think that it would be so far away. He would sit on the throne in the starry space and everyone in the world would look up to the woman beside him. However, Xinu actually chose to give up the chance to be looked up to because she wasn't worthy? If that day really comes, would he, who sits on the throne, still remember a lowly woman from the Celestial Devil Lodge who sacrificed herself for him as he grew up? The Lodge Lord spoke in a light voice. That shouldn't matter anymore. Xinu smiled. After that, she slowly closed her eyes as a stream of tears flowed down. Being incomplete, wasn't that also a kind of beauty? Qin Wendian respected Xinu's choice. He also understood that if Xinu followed him, she might not be able to be happy. Right now on the Fallen Devil Island, 2 hegemons appeared. The Fallen Devil Emperor and the Devil Kings under the vast Sky Devil Emperor would occasionally clash with each other. Although there were no deaths, injuries were common. The 2 Devil Kings treated it as a matter of course and turned a blind eye to it. They each occupied their own territories, not interfering with each other and didn't act against each other again. Qin Wendian remained on the Fallen Devil Island, waiting for news. Several months later, the people from the Royal Devil sect encountered Huang Shatian and directly tried to kill him. However, they ultimately failed to kill Huang Shatian and only managed to kill 2 people beside him. As for the Royal Devil sect, they also lost a Devil King level expert. Reality proved that the inheritance treasure on Huang Shatian was terrifying to a shocking extent. In addition, it was a perfect synergy with the cultivation art Huang Shatian cultivated. That inheritance treasure was originally a part of the inheritance and had already fused into Huang Shaishan's body. Once it erupted, it would shake the heavens and earth. Other than this, Huang Shatian still had many life-saving and fleeing methods on him. This was why he was able to escape from the eyes of the Devil Kings. From Huang Shatian, the people from the Royal Devil sect learned that he found someone from Qin Wendian's faction and killed him. Qin Wendian of the Fallen Devil Island sighed in his heart. However, it was impossible for them to obtain complete victory in this adjudication battle. They could only do their best to defeat their opponents and reduce the number of casualties. After several months passed, Qin Wendian welcomed 2 friends who entered the Myriad Devil Islands to participate in the adjudication battle. These 2 were people the subordinates of the vast Sky Devil Emperor found outside. With regards to this, the Fallen Devil Emperor's faction didn't say anything and closed one eye, allowing the people of the vast Sky Devil Emperor to stir up a storm in the Fallen Devil region. In the blink of an eye, a year has already passed since Qin Wendian came to the Myriad Devil Islands. Qin Wendian cultivated on the Fallen Devil Island. With the support of the vast Sky Devil Emperor, he could set his heart at ease and continue to improve himself. As for why he chose to stay on the Fallen Devil Island, it was naturally because he wanted to find someone. Today, on the fallen Devil Island, a group of experts arrived. This group of experts rode on the dragon chariot of darkness, soaring through the clouds. The chariot arced through the air in a majestic manner, causing countless demonic beasts below to prostrate themselves on the ground. Some experts inclined their heads and stared at the sky, feeling their hearts trembling. Dragon, a dragon of darkness. Below, countless people felt waves of shock in their hearts, feeling incomparably shocked. There was someone riding on a dragon of darkness. On the myriad devil islands, the darkness devil dragon was treated as a descendant of a demon god and had a supreme status. Those who could ride on dragons were all from emperor-ranked powers at the very least. Who is that person? On the dragon chariot, a figure could be seen. He was clad in luxurious robes and had an incomparably handsome countenance. There was a seal embroidered on his chest, clearly indicating his unparalleled status. The demonic dragon gradually descended to a low altitude. The experts in the air landed on the ground and all of them bowed to the dragon chariot as expressions of respect and reverence appeared on their faces. After that, there were even some people who knelt on the ground with incomparable respect, burying their heads in the ground. Only when the dragon roars faded away did they dare to lift their heads and stare respectfully at the back of those figures. There were people who came from the legendary Devil Mountain. Chapter 1288. The Devil Mountain was a legendary place. At the peak of the mountain, there was a devil god hall named the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall. The members of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall rode on dragons of darkness, roaming the world, monitoring everything and patrolling the myriad devil islands. Everywhere the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall went to, thousands of devils would prostrate themselves. They had terrifying authority. And at this moment, the experts who arrived on the fallen Devil Island were all riding on dragons. The insignia of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall was inscribed on their bodies. They came from the legendary place, the Devil Mountain. Within the Devil Mountain, there were people from the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall patrolling the area. Today, the roars of dragons rang out on the fallen Devil Island. Countless demonic beasts prostrated themselves, while countless devil cultivators trembled. An incomparably gigantic devil dragon of darkness brought along an incomparably noble dragon chariot as it arrived before the Emperor Palace of the fallen Devil Emperor. That luxurious young man who sat there had such a handsome look in his eyes, causing all the females who saw him to fall in love with him. The fallen Devil Emperor stepped out from the Emperor Palace, instantly arriving before the demonic dragon of darkness. When he stared at this group of experts, his eyes narrowed. As a Devil Emperor, he naturally knew where these people came from. The Devil Mountain. The Devil Mountain reached up to the heavens. For those who could ascend to the Devil Mountain and become a disciple, they were all geniuses at the peak of the myriad Devil Islands. Their talent was outstanding, their willpower shocking. Even if they became a guard after ascending the Devil Mountain, they were still more talented compared to the most outstanding geniuses on the fallen Devil Island. For example, Old Chai and Xia Yuan on the Devil rankings might not even be able to compare to the young man in the dragon carriage. As for that noble young man, since he could ride on a demonic dragon to patrol the myriad Devil Islands, his identity was obvious. He was the Imperial Dragon Saint of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall. And this army was undoubtedly the Imperial Dragon Devil Army of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall. A powerful aura, a heavy atmosphere, and an incomparably noble demeanor. The fallen Devil Emperor stared at this army of dragon knights as he sighed in his heart. This was truly a devil army that could sweep through everything under the heavens. If the entire myriad Devil Islands had such an army, they would definitely be able to trample over the immortal realms with ease. The noble young man also stared at the fallen Devil Emperor. As a junior, he didn't even stand up when he saw the fallen Devil Emperor. Because, he came from that place. I represent the fallen Devil Emperor to welcome the Imperial Dragon Army. The fallen Devil Emperor spoke. The experts behind him all bowed, of the fallen Devil Emperor. There's another demon emperor here, right? The young man continued sitting there as he calmly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the vast sky Devil Emperor walked over, staring at the young man before him. The young man also stared at him. Neither of them spoke. The young man seemed to be waiting for the vast Sky Devil Emperor to speak first, but the vast Sky Devil Emperor didn't. You came from the vast Sky Demon territory. The young man spoke. The vast Sky Devil Emperor nodded his head. The Imperial Dragon Legion is truly omniscient. Since you have your own demon domain, why did you set up camp here? The young man calmly asked, his tone indifferent and natural. Even when speaking to a Devil Emperor, he was still not polite at all. If it was an ordinary character, he would have long been slapped to death by a Devil Emperor. Such actions were simply too useless. However, for the young man before him, the vast Sky Devil Emperor clearly didn't dare to slap him to death. The Devil Mountain was the faith of the Myriad Devil Islands. If the Myriad Devil Islands didn't have the Devil Mountain, they wouldn't be known as the Myriad Devil Islands and would have long been flattened by the immortal realms. I naturally have some private matters. The vast Sky Devil Emperor smiled. Although he was smiling, he was extremely unhappy in his heart. As Devil Emperors, which one of them wouldn't have a temper? Amir Jr., even if he came from the Devil Mountain, he should at least show some respect. But this young man before him was extremely angry, as though he was questioning the vast Sky Devil Emperor. The young man frowned, his gaze was sharp as he stared at the vast Sky Devil Emperor. And from afar, Qin Wendian walked out. He stared at the group of figures in the air. The people around him already told him the identities of these people and where they came from. Qin Wendian couldn't help but to sigh. Compared to the chaos in the immortal realms, the Myriad Devil Islands seemed to have more rules. The strong ruled the Myriad Devil Islands. That Devil Mountain could command everything under the heavens. As for the immortal realms, after the era of ancient emperors, there was no longer anyone who could unify the immortal realms. Before him, a peak-level Devil Foundation Jr. was sitting on a dragon carriage. His title was Yulong Shengtu, and even when facing Devil Emperors, he didn't show any politeness or respect. Such confidence clearly originated from that legendary place in the Myriad Devil Islands. Qin Wendian was also somewhat curious about that place. Yulong Shengtu, let's go to the Emperor Palace and chat. At this moment, the fallen Devil Emperor spoke. During these days, he had been suppressing his anger and was extremely unhappy. However, in the battle back then, he was truly inferior to the vast Sky Devil Emperor and could only allow the vast Sky Devil Emperor to do whatever he wanted in his territory. In fact, the vast Sky Devil Emperor even sent Devil Kings to the various Devil Islands to help Qin Wendian search for people. Back then, he agreed to Huang Shaishan's condition and didn't give Qin Wendian a chance. Now, the vast Sky Devil Emperor's actions were undoubtedly making things difficult for him. Vast Sky Devil Emperor, let's go together. Yulong Shengtu asked. Sure. The vast Sky Devil Emperor nodded. Prepare the banquet. The fallen Devil Emperor turned and spoke, his voice echoing throughout the Emperor Palace. In just an instant, countless people in the Emperor Palace started to move, using the fastest speed possible to prepare the banquet. For this banquet, there were 3 parties. The fallen Devil Emperor, the vast Sky Devil Emperor, and the Imperial Dragon Army. In addition, the fallen Devil Emperor had arranged the best seats for the Imperial Dragon Army. Vast Sky Devil Emperor, can you retreat? After sitting down, Yulong Shengtu directly spoke, his words causing the eyes of the vast Sky Devil Emperor to flash. Why must Yulong Shengtu interfere in my matters? You have crossed the boundary. Yulong Shengtu calmly spoke. How have I crossed the boundary? The vast Sky Devil Emperor snorted coldly. This Yulong Shengtu was too arrogant. Helping someone from the immortal realms to invade the other islands, stationing troops here. Is this not considered crossing the boundary? Yulong Shengtu calmly spoke, his words causing the eyes of the vast Sky Devil Emperor to gleam with sharpness. Yulong Shengtu's information was a little too terrifying. The Fallen Devil region was a place that connected the Myriad Devil Islands to the immortal realms and could be considered an extremely remote place. Yet, he actually knew that Qin Wendian was from the immortal realms and knew about the matter between him and Qin Wendian. Who is it? The vast sky devil emperor asked. Devil emperor, why must you act like you don't know where the person you are helping is from? Just tell him to come here. Yulong Shengtu calmly spoke. You are talking about Qin Wentian? Even if he is from the immortal realms and is just a junior, it shouldn't be against the rules of the Myriad Devil Islands, right? Since when did our Myriad Devil Islands not have a place for an immortal wuxiu? The vast sky devil emperor continued. Tell him to come here. Yulong Shengtu ignored him and calmly spoke. Behind the fallen devil emperor, a figure stood up and roared, Qin Wentian, Yulong Shengtu is summoning you. This voice rumbled, drifting through the air, enveloping the emperor palace. Qin Wentian naturally heard it as well. His silhouette flashed as he flew towards the direction of the banquet. Not long after, he arrived at the location of the banquet and stared at Yulong Shengtu, who came from the Devil Mountain. Before this, the Devil King under the fallen Devil Emperor had introduced him to the people of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall. Yulong Shengtu was the most outstanding junior of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall and roamed the myriad Devil Islands, monitoring the world. This was also a form of tempering for himself, and no matter where he went, he would always receive gazes of respect. This Yulong Shengtu before him didn't show any politeness even in front of a Devil Emperor. From this, one could very well imagine how confident and arrogant he was. Naturally, this wasn't arrogance. Because, he came from the Devil Mountain. Yulong Shengtu from the Devil Mountain was destined to be extraordinary and would definitely become an important character of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall in the future. My myriad Devil Islands naturally won't be unable to contain an immortal realm wuxiu. However, a mere immortal realm wuxiu stirring up a storm in my myriad Devil Islands, causing two Devil Emperors to start a war. This is no longer a minor matter. Yulong Shengtu stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke. He then turned to Qin Wentian, tell me, how should I deal with you? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. In the long river of history, there were many conflicts between the myriad Devil Islands and the immortal realms. However, it was impossible to completely sever all ties. It was just that the Devil Emperors of the myriad Devil Islands rarely stepped into the territory of the immortal realms, or they would instantly be targeted by the major powers of the immortal realms. Also, immortal emperors of the immortal realms were forbidden from entering the myriad Devil Islands. But for those below the immortal emperor realm, things weren't so strict. After all, there were devil cultivators in the immortal realms as well as immortals in the myriad Devil Islands. How could it be possible to draw a clear line between them? What do you want? Qin Wentian stared at the young man as he spoke. This young man exuded a noble aura, like a descendant of an immortal emperor. His appearance was extremely eye-catching, but his tone was so cold that no one would dare to get close to him. He was naturally lofty, peering down at the people of the world. Should I sentence you to death or let you scram out of the myriad Devil Islands yourself? Yulong Shengtu continued. He didn't come to the fallen devil region by accident. He received news from the Devil Mountain that an emperor-ranked battle was happening in the fallen devil region. Also, from that powerful Devil Hall, he learned that many peak geniuses of the immortal realms have entered the myriad Devil Islands and were involved in the emperor-ranked battle. As Yulong Shengtu, who roamed the world, since he encountered this, he naturally couldn't ignore it. Did the peak geniuses of the immortal realms come to the myriad Devil Islands to cause trouble? Shengtu, Qin Wentian has some connection with me. When has the Devil Mountain ever issued an order to expel wuxiu from the immortal realms? The vast sky Devil Emperor furrowed his brows as he spoke. He has already protected Qin Wentian for a year. The matter regarding the sacred luminance had to be completed no matter what. Even if someone from the Devil Mountain came, they couldn't possibly spoil his plans so easily, right? As the Yulong Shengtu, do I need to seek the orders of the Devil Mountain for my actions? Vast Sky Devil Emperor, have you forgotten that you are bathed in the radiance of the Devil Mountain? Yulong Shengtu coldly spoke. Qin Wentian laughed, in a mocking tone. What are you laughing at? The young man stared at Qin Wentian as he asked. Back then, when the Tiandao Sacred Academy opened, many experts from the myriad Devil Islands headed there, including Devil Kings and Devil Foundation experts. Those Devil Foundation experts should have already returned safely. Those people should all be peak geniuses of the myriad Devil Islands, right? How can the immortal realms accept people from the myriad Devil Islands? To think that a holy disciple from the Devil Mountain is actually such a character. How ridiculous. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. Chapter 1289. Yulong Shintu's eyes flashed when he heard Qin Wentian's words. Back then when the Sacred Academy opened, he was roaming the immortal realms and didn't head there. But he knew that there were some people who were escorted there in a low-profile manner. Qin Wentian's words didn't seem to make sense. The Tiandao Sacred Academy is only located in the immortal realms, it doesn't belong to the immortal realms. People of my myriad Devil Islands can naturally enter. I also didn't say that Wu Xiu of the immortal realms isn't allowed to enter the myriad Devil Islands. It's just that you instigated a war between two devil emperors. How can I be the same? Yulong Shintu coldly spoke. When did the myriad Devil Islands forbid fighting? Shintu, don't forget that under the radiance of the Devil Mountain, the reason why the myriad Devil Islands are so strong is because they love to fight. The vast Sky Devil Emperor spoke unhappily. This Yulong Shintu was a little too controlling. He wanted to convict Qin Wendian of a crime merely because of his personal preference, yet he actually wanted to use the sacred ground of the myriad Devil Islands to suppress others. Naturally, as Yulong Shintu of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall, there were many people who couldn't go against his preferences. Is the vast Sky Devil Emperor colluding with the immortal realms? Yulong Shintu's expression abruptly turned cold as he released his might. His eyes were like ice as he stared at the vast Sky Devil Emperor. I want to convict someone of a crime, but the vast Sky Devil Emperor is obstructing me and defending him time and time again. What are your intentions? If you want to convict someone, you can always find a pretext. Today, I've truly experienced it. The vast Sky Devil Emperor coldly snorted. Give me a reason not to kill you. I hope you can convince me. Yulong Shintu stared at Qin Wendian once more, his voice as calm as ever. Boom! Qin Wentian's aura erupted forth as devil might gushed forth. He stared at Yulong Shintu. Is he an immortal or a devil? Using devil energy to conceal immortal might. Such a secret art can be seen everywhere on my Devil Mountain. Yulong Shintu calmly spoke, unmoved. If I cultivate the devil path in the future, would I be an immortal or a devil? Qin Wendian asked again. Yulong Shintu frowned. Vast Sky Devil Emperor, the major powers of the fallen devil region don't seem to obstruct Wu Xiu from the immortal realms from joining. In that case, would the Devil Mountain accept Wu Xiu from the immortal realms? Qin Wendian curiously asked. You want to enter the Devil Mountain? Yulong Shintu smiled, as though he was mocking Qin Wendian. Retract. The eyes of the fallen Devil Emperor gleamed sharply as he spoke. The prerequisite is that you have to be able to ascend the Devil Mountain. As long as you can ascend the Devil Mountain, you would be considered to have passed the test of the myriad Devil Sovereign. Regardless of immortal, devil, or demon, you can all be accepted. I would like to ask Yulong Shintu, in that case, I also have a chance to become a cultivator of the Devil Mountain. Since this is the case, don't you think this crime is ridiculous? Qin Wendian asked. What a glib tongue. Yulong Shintu shook his head lightly. This is a peak-level genius of the immortal realms. So this is the reason why you want to kill me. Qin Wendian suddenly laughed, his laughter was filled with mockery. He stared at Yulong Shintu and suddenly spoke, please guide me. This voice sounded very abrupt, but when combined with Qin Wentian's earlier words, as well as that mocking smile, it was very easy to understand. He was mocking Yulong Shintu for wanting to kill him because he was a peak-level genius of the immortal realms, while Yulong Shintu was a peak-level genius of the myriad Devil Islands. If he wanted to kill him, it was naturally because he wanted to use the prestige of the Devil Mountain to bully the immortal realms, killing his opponent in the cradle. And this please guide me was undoubtedly using the identity of a peak-level genius of the immortal realms to challenge a genius of the Devil Mountain. A gust of wind gusted by as numerous gazes landed on Yulong Shintu. Yulong Shintu, who came down from the Devil Mountain, what sort of esteemed status did he have? As for Qin Wentian, most probably no one in the same generation on the fallen Devil Island could compare to him. But how could he stand shoulder to shoulder with someone like Yulong Xingtu? In order to fight for a chance of survival, you want me to accept the challenge? Yulong Xingtu coldly laughed. Do you think that if I accept the challenge, you would have a chance? You truly overestimate yourself. Yulong Xingtu sat there and laughed mockingly. This reason is unable to convince me. So, kill. As the sound of the word kill faded, several figures stepped out. A killing intent gushed forth, exuding a fearsome might. 2 devil emperors occupied a region, but this place was actually under the control of Yulong Xingtu. This was the prestige of Yulong Xingtu of the Devil Mountain. Even though there were no immortal emperors around him, his status was still incomparably lofty. How could an immortal realm genius challenge him so casually? Boom! Qin Wentian's immortal foundation gushed forth. It was a perfect and flawless immortal foundation, shining with resplendent light. Although the Devil Mountain is a legendary place of the myriad Devil Islands, I believe that for first-level Devil Foundation experts, there aren't many who have a perfect Saint-grade Devil Foundation. Qin Wentian spoke. At this moment, he didn't release his Devil Might, but his Immortal Might instead. A perfect Saint-grade Immortal Foundation. With a Saint-grade Immortal Foundation, he challenged again. Wait a minute. Yulong Xingtu spoke. That expert who went to chase after Qin Wentian halted his steps. An expression of interest appeared on Yulong Xingtu's face. A perfect Saint-grade Immortal Foundation. Indeed, there weren't many of them on the Devil Mountain. Although it's a Saint-grade Immortal Foundation, the reason is still insufficient. Even if I personally act to kill you, there's no meaning to it. Yulong Xingtu continued. If Yulong Xingtu can kill him, I will gift you an emperor-ranked weapon. The vast Sky Devil Emperor suddenly spoke, his words causing the hearts of everyone to tremble as they stared at the vast Sky Devil Emperor. Even for Devil Emperor-ranked experts, Emperor-ranked weapons were incomparably valuable. The vast Sky Devil Emperor actually took out an Emperor-ranked weapon as a bet, betting that Yulong Xingtu wouldn't be able to kill Qin Wentian. The vast Sky Devil Emperor was indeed betting. In truth, he had been transmitting his voice to Qin Wentian all this while. Qin Wentian said that he would win for sure. Is this true? Yulong Xingtu stared at the vast Sky Devil Emperor. My words are naturally true. However, what if Yulong Xingtu is defeated? The vast Sky Devil Emperor asked. How can I be defeated? Yulong Xingtu laughed. I said what if? The vast Sky Devil Emperor continued. If I'm defeated, he can naturally live. I won't interfere in the matters of the fallen devil region and will directly leave this place. Yulong Xingtu spoke. If Yulong Xingtu is defeated and angered, breaking his promise and using the Devil Mountain to suppress me, I would still die for sure. Qin Wentian laughed. Are you saying that my words can't be trusted? Yulong Xingtu stared at Qin Wentian, his eyes gleaming with coldness. A Yulong Xingtu who brought an army here to kill an immortal foundation genius of the immortal realms is truly not worthy of trust. Qin Wentian spoke. I can guarantee that if you are victorious, he will leave. At this moment, a voice drifted over. The eyes of the fallen Devil Emperor and the vast Sky Devil Emperor flashed. There was actually someone approaching. As Devil Emperors, they actually didn't know about it. A bright light flashed as motes of devil light converged. At the side of the banquet hall, a figure slowly materialized, appearing from the void. When this person appeared, everyone's gazes landed on him. Even the Devil Emperors didn't notice his approach, let alone the Devil Kings. Their eyes were all shining with dazzling light as they sized up the young man in front of them. This young man was clad in a simple robe. He was far from being as handsome as Yulong Xingtu. But although he looked ordinary, just a single glance would cause one to be captivated by his demeanor. Yulong Xingtu's eyes also froze, gleaming with sharpness as he stared at this young man. The young man had a smile on his face. He stared at Qin Wentian and spoke, I can guarantee that if you defeat him, no one here will make things difficult for you." The hearts of everyone trembled. What arrogant words! To Yulong Shengtu, he said that if Qin Wendian won, no one here would make things difficult for him, including Yulong Shengtu and his army. Did he come from the Devil Mountain as well? What was going on in the Fallen Devil region? There were actually people from that legendary place who came here one after another. Could it be that a storm was about to happen in the Immortal Realms and Myriad Devil Islands? "Sir, why are you so sure?" Qin Wendian asked. "People from the Devil Mountain naturally mean what they say." The young man spoke in a light voice. He stared at Yulong Shengtu and asked, "Am I right?" Yulong Shengtu stared at the smiling young man. At this moment, the arrogance he exuded seemed to be retracted. He naturally knew who this young man before him was. This young man was also someone from the Devil Mountain. Even if he was Yulong Shengtu, this smiling young man before him was someone he couldn't afford to antagonize. "Naturally," Yulong Shengtu replied. "Can I sit?" The young man glanced in the direction of the fallen Devil Emperor as he smiled. "Feel free." The fallen Devil Emperor nodded. During the banquet, he had always been silent, allowing the situation to develop. With so many people from the legendary place arriving, he was also extremely shocked in his heart. The young man casually chose a seat and sat down. He then stared at Yulong Shengtu and Qin Wendian, as though he was here to watch a show and had no standpoint. Seems like the cultivators of the legendary Devil Mountain all had their own thoughts. They all came from different devil halls. Yulong Shengtu stood up and walked towards Qin Wendian step by step. His luxurious robes fluttered in the wind, and his handsome countenance, as well as his extraordinary demeanor, all of these clearly indicated his nobility. The people of the fallen Devil Emperor were all staring at him. Back then during the birthday celebration, Qin Wendian was unexcelled in the world and even brought an army with him. But now, facing against Yulong Shengtu who came from the Devil Mountain, how long could he last? Other than the vast Sky Devil Emperor, most probably no one thought highly of Qin Wendian. Even if they were the subordinates of the vast Sky Devil Emperor, even if he had a perfect immortal foundation, even if his talent was extremely high. His opponent came from the Devil Mountain and was none other than Yulong Shengtu, a supreme genius of the legendary place, a heaven chosen with towering authority. It has been a very long time since I fought against someone. Because among those of the same generation, other than some existences on the Devil Mountain, there's no one worthy enough for me to fight. Yulong Shengtu walked towards Qin Wendian and slowly spoke. "You are trying to goad me into action, trying to gain a chance of survival. However, do you really think that this is your chance of survival? How ridiculous." A mocking smile rang out. Dragon roars rang out from Yulong Shengtu as numerous terrifying dragons of darkness soared up into the sky. In an instant, an undefeatable might engulfed this entire space. Dragon roars rang out and those at the Devil Foundation realm only felt their Devil Foundations trembling. Chapter 1290. Saint-grade Devil Foundation in the form of a dragon. Everyone stared at Yulong Shengtu, feeling speechless in their hearts. As expected of a cultivator from the legendary place. As a place of faith for the myriad Devil Islands, there should be countless shocking secret arts on the Devil Mountain. This man before them was Yulong Shengtu. It wasn't strange at all that he had a saint-grade Devil Foundation. Draconic roars rang out from his entire body, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Yulong Shengtu's body was like a dragon, with dragon blood and dragon bones. He was like a true divine devil dragon of darkness. His Devil Foundation seemed to have a pair of eyes, exuding an incomparably imposing might, peering down at the world. The Devil Foundation experts in the surroundings all trembled in fear. If Yulong Shengtu acted against them, he could easily crush them, shattering their Devil Foundations. On Qin Wendian's body, his perfect immortal foundation circulated, transforming into the form of a dragon. This was an incomparably terrifying destructive demonic dragon. Its demonic chi engulfed the heavens and earth, violent to the extreme, actually clashing head-on with his opponent's Devil Foundation. How could he be suppressed? It's true that I want you to fight. However, this isn't for the sake of survival. It's because once you fight, you will understand that once you shed your identity as Yulongshengtu, you are basically nothing. Qin Wendian calmly replied. He was still as arrogant as back then during the birthday celebration of the Devil Emperor, even if his opponent was Yulongshengtu. Qin Wendian didn't care who his opponent was. As long as his opponent was on the same level as him, there was no way they could defeat him. This was absolute confidence. Absolute strength would give birth to absolute confidence. Ever since he woke up from his coma and discovered that he had broken through to the 9th level of Immortal Foundation, his confidence had reached the extreme. He wouldn't lose to someone at the Immortal Foundation or Devil Foundation. It was impossible. Right now, his cultivation base was at the 9th level. Back then, he was already at the peak of the 7th level, just a step away from the 8th level. He didn't expect that Xinu's Mercury Lady Devil art would be so powerful, allowing him to directly break through a level. However, Xinu also sacrificed her entire Devil Foundation. Yulongshengtu laughed. He left the mountain and roamed the myriad Devil Islands for many years. In truth, after he stepped into the Devil Foundation realm, he was chosen as the Yulongshengtu. The vast majority of his time was spent cultivating in the outside world, roaming the myriad Devil Islands, and he had never met someone as brazen as Qin Wendian before. Qin Wendian actually dared to have such absolute confidence before him. Roar! A heaven-shaking dragon roar rang out as a fearsome devil dragon soared towards Qin Wendian. Its gigantic body seemed capable of engulfing everything as it opened its terrifying maw, wanting to devour this entire space. Qin Wendian, in front of that gigantic maw, appeared extremely tiny and inconsequential. Lifting his palm, Qin Wendian directly punched out. With just a single punch, the roar of a dragon shook the heavens. Similarly, a demonic dragon capable of suppressing everything soared up into the sky, colliding with the devil dragon of darkness in the air. After that, both of them were torn apart and destroyed. It was extremely terrifying. A shocking collision occurred in the void, shaking the entire space. In the distance, the Demon Emperor waved his hand, blocking the shockwaves. Yulongshengtu and Qin Wendian soared into the air. The battlefield below was clearly not wide enough for them. Yulongshengtu's eyes abruptly gleamed with a demonic light. His Devil Foundation roared in rage, and after that, an incomparably sharp dragon claw of darkness directly appeared before Qin Wendian, grabbing towards him. Qin Wendian's body circulated with a terrifying divine light. His fiend god body was indestructible. Ancient characters gushed forth frenziedly, forming a screen of light that blasted apart the sharp dragon claw. Yulongshengtu of the Devil Mountain, if you only have such attacks, there's no need for us to fight anymore. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. Yulongshengtu frowned. The aura from Qin Wendian had truly reached an extremely terrifying level. In that case, I will let you experience true killing. Yulongshengtu spoke in cold arrogance. Both of his hands folded ancient seals as a devil nebula manifested, blotting out the sky. That entire space turned into darkness as the darkness enveloped Qin Wendian. Over there, numerous pairs of eyes of darkness opened. Yulongshengtu stood on the head of a terrifying devil dragon. With a thunderous roar, the entire space trembled as devil clouds churned. Lightning flashed and thunder boomed, causing the entire space to tremble violently, transforming into an apocalyptic scene. Destructive lightning and thunder unceasingly shot out from the devil light, blasting towards Qin Wendian. Such an attack, other than forcefully enduring it, it was basically impossible to evade. The law energy circulating around him grew increasingly dazzling. Qin Wendian stared at the boundless apocalyptic light blasting towards him. The ancient characters shone even more resplendently as the shadow of a divine turtle enveloped him, allowing the boundless might to blast him. He remained unmoved. However, at this moment, the sky screen opened up. From within that apocalyptic scene, numerous terrifying devil dragons of darkness drilled out, resembling the power of the heavens as they lunged towards Qin Wendian. At this instant, countless people below felt their hearts pounding violently. Even devil kings felt fear in their hearts. Was this the strength of an expert from the Devil Mountain? Too terrifying. Such pressure, such fearsome innate techniques, they had never seen before. Yulong Xingtu of the Devil Mountain truly lived up to his reputation. Can Qin Wendian withstand such an attack? A voice rang out in the hearts of everyone. They were thinking, under the attacks of Yulong Xingtu, how long would Qin Wendian be able to endure for? Qin Wendian stared at the world-destroying attacks blasting over. His eyes were incomparably calm, his heart like still water. His immortal foundation radiated boundless divine light as his body grew even more resplendent. Runic inscriptions flowed on his skin as he lifted both his hands. A moment later, numerous supreme gods' hands blasted out. Each palm imprint was inscribed with ancient characters, containing the power of attribute cultivation arts. Boundless light filled the air. Qin Wendian stood in the center, allowing the fearsome sounds of collision to ring out one after another. He stood there steadily. The space around Qin Wendian felt like it was about to shatter. Countless people inclined their heads and stared at the devil dragons and palm imprints, feeling incomparably shocked in their hearts. Qin Wendian, who has stepped into the peak stage of immortal foundation, was he already strong enough to contend against Yulong Xingtu? Yulong Xingtu stretched out his palms as an incomparably gigantic dragon arm, even larger than the demonic dragon earlier, instantly enveloped the entire sky as it smashed down towards Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian, in front of that terrifying dragon claw, was like an insignificant speck of dust that couldn't be seen. Destructive energy coalesced in his palms, transforming into an ancient halberd. His silhouette flashed as his entire person transformed into an unexcelled beam of destructive light. The ancient halberd moved with him, piercing out with him. Boundless destructive beams of black light pierced into the gigantic dragon claw, directly penetrating through it. Qin Wendian's body emerged from within, rushing towards Yulong Xingtu, who was standing on the head of the devil dragon. Yulong Xingtu stared at Qin Wendian. He simply watched as Qin Wendian rushed over. The demonic dragon beneath his feet rose up, enveloping him within as the sharp claws once again blasted out towards Qin Wendian, containing supreme might. That was an incomparably powerful devil dragon of darkness, resembling a true dragon. Walala! Only to see countless demonic dragon arms stretching out, terrifying to the extreme. All of them grabbed towards Qin Wendian. It was basically impossible for Qin Wendian to kill his way to Yulong Xingtu. Qi! A terrifying beam of destructive light radiated forth. Qin Wendian's body was like a beam of light as he sped towards the countless dragon arms. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. The gazes of everyone froze as they stared in that direction. This fellow was truly audacious, he actually dared to sink so deep into the dragon arms. Rumble. A beam of destructive light flashed as Qin Wendian appeared with an ancient halberd in his hands, directly piercing towards Yulong Xingtu's head. Bang! A single strike landed. However, at this moment, an extremely dangerous aura gushed forth from behind. Qin Wendian's silhouette directly shattered and vanished. Yulong Xingtu appeared on the demonic dragon below. He was as majestic as ever, incomparably handsome. Lifting his palms, he blasted out with rage as countless devil dragon spears pierced through everything, wanting to nail Qin Wendian to death. But at this instant, the shadow of a great rock appeared behind Qin Wendian. His silhouette flickered and vanished like a bolt of lightning, reappearing in the air above. Staring at Yulong Xingtu below, Qin Wendian felt that his opponent's strength should be slightly inferior compared to Huang Shatian. This was especially so in terms of attack power. Huang Shatian had used the ultimate killing power of his inheritance at the end, and it was extremely terrifying. Yulong Xingtu wasn't as strong as Huang Shatian. Back then, when he fought Huang Shatian at the 7th level of Immortal Foundation, he had to use the power of his bloodline in addition to his devil transformation before he could fight to a draw with Huang Shatian. Under such terrifying augmentation, his cultivation base should have already reached the 9th level of Immortal Foundation. And now, he no longer needed the power of his bloodline and devil transformation. It was already sufficient for him to deal with this opponent before him. Your strength isn't bad. Yulong Xingtu calmly spoke. However, your strength isn't that great. Qin Wendian spoke. After that, the power of God's hand was activated to the extreme as the light of truth circulated around his body. The ancient halberd appeared in his hand as demonic chi engulfed the area, instantly enveloping this entire space. A single strike should be sufficient. Qin Wendian spoke. Boundless energy circulated around him as the wind and clouds howled, causing the sky to change color. Qin Wendian descended from the air and with a single strike, a vortex of destruction manifested. Boundless destructive light gushed forth, destroying everything in this space. Terrifying sounds rang out, Yulong Shengtu's countenance drastically changed. The roars of dragons shook the heavens and earth as countless demonic dragons soared through the air. However, within the vortex, there seemed to be a world-destroying demon, wanting to destroy everything, engulfing all the demonic dragons of darkness within. That ancient halberd pierced down from the sky, who could block it? A storm of annihilation descended. Yulong Shengtu's countenance drastically changed. He was in the center of the storm and only felt that he was about to be completely destroyed. Roaring sounds rang out, he lifted his palms up but he still couldn't block that attack. The spectators were all breathless. Qin Wendian was actually stronger than Yulong Shengtu of the Devil Mountain. Chapter 1291. Breaking the laws with brute force. The eyes of the vast Sky Devil Emperor froze when he saw this scene. Qin Wendian's comprehension of law energy wasn't as stable as his innate techniques. In truth, Yulong Shengtu's comprehension of law energy was a little deeper. However, when the power of his attack reached a certain degree, everything would have to give way. This ultimate attack of Qin Wendian was like the light of the apocalypse, capable of destroying everything. With Qin Wendian at the center, countless dragon silhouettes manifested, their roars shaking the heavens. However, they were still unable to block Qin Wendian's killing intent. Before the destructive might of Yulong Shengtu, numerous dragons of darkness were destroyed, drawn into the whirlpool. Yulong Shengtu was enveloped by the destructive light. He placed his finger on a dragon ring on his middle finger. After that, an intense beam of light erupted forth as a supreme golden devil dragon appeared, enveloping him within. The destructive whirlpool blasted over, wanting to destroy the heavens and earth. However, it was blocked by the golden screen of light, unable to break through. Yulong Shengtu used a Devil King weapon and it was a purely defensive weapon. Such a divine weapon could directly defend and was extremely easy to activate. It was definitely an extremely valuable treasure. The whirlpool calmed down. Qin Wendian stood in the air, staring at Yulong Shengtu who was enveloped by the screen of light. Countless people inclined their heads as waves of shock rose in their hearts. They had already thought highly of Qin Wendian, but they didn't expect him to be even stronger than Yulong Shengtu. Right now, victory and defeat had already been determined. Without a doubt, Qin Wendian was the victor. What made the fallen Devil Emperor and his subordinates even more terrified was that Qin Wendian had yet to use that secret art he couldn't control. This meant that if the two of them didn't have the aid of a divine weapon, Yulong Shengtu would die for sure if they encountered each other in the outside world. A character so powerful that he could suppress Yulong Shengtu, what sort of character was he exactly? However, Qin Wendian didn't have a complacent expression on his face. Right now, he was at the 9th level of Immortal Foundation. Defeating Yulong Shengtu wasn't something to be proud of, even if Yulong Shengtu came from the Devil Mountain. For a character like Yulong Shengtu on the Devil Mountain, he should be a genius at the peak of Devil Foundation in the myriad Devil Islands. As for him and Huang Shatian, they were all geniuses at the peak of the Immortal Realms. It wasn't strange for them to win or lose. In addition, that young man who came later seemed to have a higher status compared to Yulong Shengtu. Who knew what sort of place the Devil Mountain was? But clearly, there should be many people like Yulong Shengtu there. In the Immortal Realms, there were definitely not many people like him and Huang Shatian. Hence, even though Yulong Shengtu's strength was inferior to Huang Shaishan's, Qin Wendian did not find it strange at all. The current Huang Shatian was the one who had obtained the strongest legacy of the 9 emperors' immortal state, Huang Shatian. The light screen around Yulong Shengtu dissipated. His expression was incomparably unsightly, his handsome countenance seemed somewhat unharmonious. Defeated. As Yulong Shengtu, he roamed the world, monitoring the myriad devil islands. In the fallen devil region, he wanted to punish an immortal realm expert, Wu Xiu, wanting to kill him. However, he was challenged by Wu Xiu and was actually defeated. In front of so many people, in front of the Imperial Dragon Army, he, a holy disciple, was defeated. Yulong Shengtu. Qin Wendian laughed in a low voice. However, when his voice entered the ears of Yulong Shengtu and the Imperial Dragon Army, it was filled with mockery. They came here in a grandiose manner, exuding an imposing aura. Before this, Yulong Shengtu didn't even have the Devil Emperor in his eyes, exuding an air of supremacy. However, this battle had completely smashed his pride to smithereens. Yulong Shengtu of the Devil Mountain was actually defeated by an immortal realm expert of the same cultivation level as him, a Wu Xiu who came to the myriad devil islands to temper himself. Silence filled the air, only Qin Wendian's mocking laughter could be heard. What sort of person are you in the immortal realms? Yulong Shengtu stared at Qin Wendian. That attack earlier was a supremely powerful attack. Qin Wendian was proficient in the power of ultimate arts. Clearly, Qin Wendian had an extraordinary status in the immortal realms. You have already been defeated, why is there a need to ask me who I am? According to our agreement, you should bring your Imperial Dragon Army away, right? Qin Wendian calmly spoke. Yulong Shengtu turned and walked towards the Imperial Dragon Army. His expression was cold, his eyes gleaming with a powerful killing intent. I promised you that if I am defeated, I will leave this place and not interfere in the matters of the fallen devil region. I will naturally do that. Yulong Shengtu spoke. Qin Wendian frowned, the tone of his opponent seemed a little strange, as though he was unwilling to accept this. However, the Imperial Dragon Army didn't agree. In the next instant, Yulong Shengtu coldly spoke, his words causing Qin Wendian's expression to turn cold. The vast Sky Devil Emperor's gaze turned heavy as his expression turned unsightly. Using the identity of Yulong Shengtu to speak, yet you still want to play such a word game? Are you not insulting the prestige of the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall? Impudent! Yulong Shengtu coldly berated. I will naturally do what I promised. However, the Imperial Dragon Army still wants to kill him. Even if I would be despised by others because of this, I don't mind. Since the peak characters of the immortal realms have come to the myriad devil islands, how can we allow him to leave alive? The peak geniuses of the immortal realms? The eyes of everyone flashed. They should have guessed that the person who could defeat Yulong Shengtu was undoubtedly a peak genius of the immortal realms who came to the myriad devil islands to temper themselves. As expected, a person like you is so arrogant yet so petty. You want to use my death to cover up your defeat? Could it be that you think you can erase the humiliation of your defeat by doing this? Qin Wendian shook his head. For things like promises, to people who didn't keep their word, they wouldn't have much of a binding force. Devil cultivators have always done whatever they wanted. What did promises count for to them? Even if they were disciples of the Devil Mountain, they would do so in front of everyone. I will naturally remember the humiliation of my defeat. However, when I roam the myriad devil islands, I will definitely not allow Wu Xiu, who was sent by the immortal realms, to stir up trouble. Yulong Shengtu's tone was resolute, his killing intent was strong. Just like what Qin Wendian had thought, the people of the myriad devil islands never had any rules or restrictions. They could do whatever they wanted. So what if he was defeated? He still wanted Qin Wendian to die. Did you place my words in your heart? At this moment, the white-robed young man who had been sitting at the side spoke. Yulong Shengtu's eyes flashed as he stared at the white-robed young man. Wu Xiu from the immortal realms came to our myriad devil islands to cause trouble. In addition, he is from the peak of the immortal realms. Don't tell me we should eliminate him. The Imperial Dragon Devil Hall roams the world, monitoring the myriad devil islands. I believe no matter where you go, you all would be extremely imposing, causing everyone to grovel before you. In your eyes, those who don't submit should be killed. Those who submit will prosper, those who defy will die. The magnanimity of tolerance can no longer be seen in you guys. The white-robed young man calmly spoke. Yulong Xingtu's eyes flashed. He didn't understand what was tolerance. Why did they have to be tolerant? Eradicating all threats, killing those who showed disrespect to the Devil Mountain, roaming the world, monitoring everything. When did they need to be tolerant? In their eyes, there were only those who should be killed and those who shouldn't be killed. Scram back to the Devil Mountain to cultivate. The young man spoke, his words causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. Scram back to the Devil Mountain. This young man actually said such words to Yulong Xingtu. Don't you think you care too much? Yulong Xingtu stared at him, speaking with some unhappiness. The eyes of the young man turned over, landing on Yulong Xingtu. After that, he stepped out, moving towards Yulong Xingtu. Careful. The experts from the Imperial Dragon Army instantly moving in that direction. Yulong Xingtu also activated a light screen, enveloping his body. However, the white-robed young man directly walked up to the light screen and stepped in. His body seemed to transform into an incorporeal form as he passed through the light screen bit by bit, transforming into an illusory form as he walked in. Just like that, he walked up to Yulong Xingtu. Scram, or not? The white-robed young man smiled at Yulong Xingtu. Yulong Xingtu's countenance turned pale as he stared at the devil-like figure before him. This bastard, after he broke through to the Devil King realm, his strength had actually reached such a terrifying level. Is he someone from the immortal realms? Yulong Xingtu stubbornly asked. You are someone from the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall. You and I are from different halls, but you lack respect for me. Tell me, should I kill you or not? The young man spoke in a low voice, causing Yulong Xingtu to turn pale. Many experts in the surroundings stood there, staring at the white-robed young man. This terrifying fellow, if Yulong Xingtu really dared to disobey him, most probably, he would really dare to do anything. Simply because, he was him. Yulong Xingtu had an unsightly expression on his face. He stared at the young man before him and finally spoke, I will bring my men and leave now. The young man stood there without moving. Yulong Xingtu turned and departed, waving his hands, let's go. The Imperial Dragon Army soared into the air. Devil dragons soared into the air as they rode on the dragons, flying into the distance. Because of a single young man, the entire army actually left. Who is this fellow exactly? The gazes of everyone landed on the white-robed young man. This man was definitely someone with an extremely high status on the Devil Mountain. If not, Yulong Xingtu wouldn't be afraid of him. Yulong Xingtu even dared to be arrogant before the Devil Emperor. But before this young man, he didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Sir, who are you? The fallen Devil Emperor asked. He was also curious about the identity of this young man. Who I am isn't important. The young man smiled as he turned around. His gaze landed on Qin Wentian as he spoke, the people you are looking for, your people and the people from the other side initiated the adjudication battle. Hence, you are in a hurry to search for them in the fallen devil region. Qin Wentian stared at the young man. This young man actually knew so much, he even knew about the adjudication battle. I know of a method that would allow you to easily find the people you are looking for. All of them. The young man smiled. Qin Wentian stared at him and asked, what method? Devil Mountain. The young man spat out 2 words, causing Qin Wentian's gaze to freeze. Devil Mountain. The method the young man told him was actually the Devil Mountain. I'm Wu Xiu of the Immortal Realms. As someone from the Devil Mountain, why are you doing this? Qin Wentian asked. If you don't go up the Devil Mountain, there will naturally be others who will. The young man laughed. After that, he turned and departed just like that. Chapter 1292. If you don't go up the Devil Mountain, there will naturally be someone else. Qin Wentian stared at the back view of the young man as his eyes flashed with sharpness. Who was he referring to when he said that someone would naturally go? Why did this young man from the Devil Mountain want him to go to the Devil Mountain? Although there was no war between the Immortal Realms and the myriad Devil Islands, they could still be considered enemies. The mysterious expert of the Devil Mountain actually invited him up to the Devil Mountain. Also, he said that there would naturally be people going. Did this mean that he would invite others to the Devil Mountain? Huang Shatian. Qin Wendian had no way to know what this young man was thinking. Even the fallen Devil Emperor and Vast Sky Devil Emperor didn't understand. This mysterious young man was extremely powerful. When he appeared, even the two Devil Emperors didn't sense it. He could directly pass through Yulong Shengtu's defensive divine weapon, as though he was an illusion. This person was unfathomable. Yulong Shengtu clearly feared him greatly. The experts from the Devil Mountain left just like that. The eyes of the two Devil Emperors and their subordinates flashed. Some of them stared at Qin Wendian. This man's combat prowess was even stronger than Yulong Shengtu. If he wanted to head to the Devil Mountain, would he be able to ascend the stairway leading to the Myriad Devil Path? The possibility of this was extremely high. A peak-level genius of the Immortal Realms would surely have an extraordinary status. If he really passed the test set by the Myriad Devil Sovereign and ascended the Devil Mountain, what would happen then? At that time, would he be an immortal or a demon? Let's go. The Vast Sky Devil Emperor stood up and led his people away. Qin Wendian followed beside the Vast Sky Devil Emperor, only to hear the Vast Sky Devil Emperor asking, "What are your plans? What kind of place is the Devil Mountain?" Qin Wendian muttered. The Devil Mountain is the legendary place of the myriad Devil Islands. It's rumored that there's nothing the Devil Mountain can't do. There's nothing the Devil Mountain doesn't know about. The peak geniuses of your immortal realms came to the myriad Devil Islands to temper yourselves. Yulong Shengtu and that mysterious young man came one after another. Clearly, the Devil Mountain already knew of your arrival. The Vast Sky Devil Emperor calmly spoke. That mysterious young man said that I can find everyone and head to Devil Mountain. What should I do then? Qin Wendian was puzzled. If you head to the Devil Mountain, you might be able to find your answer. The Vast Sky Devil Emperor spoke in a low voice. Would the Devil Mountain have an answer? If I go, how should I go? The myriad Devil Islands are bathed in the radiance of the myriad Devil Sovereign. Every main island of the Devil regions, just like the Fallen Devil Island and Vast Sky Devil Island, would have a supreme teleportation array that leads to the main island where the Devil Mountain is located. This array can only be activated by the Devil Emperor who controls the Devil regions. In addition, no matter who controls the Devil regions, no one is allowed to destroy this array. The Vast Sky Devil Emperor calmly spoke. The island where the Devil Mountain is located, is it connected to all the Devil regions in the myriad Devil Islands? Qin Wendian mumbled to himself. A place of faith in the myriad Devil Islands, a place of absolute control. This was the Devil Mountain. How dangerous is it? Qin Wendian suddenly asked. It's rumored that many people who tried to ascend the Devil Mountain all died on the myriad Devil steps. However, although strength isn't sufficient to ascend the myriad Devil steps, since you were able to defeat Yulong Shengtu, the chances of you ascending the Devil Mountain is still very high. The Vast Sky Devil Emperor replied. Senior Demon Emperor, do you want me to go? Qin Wendian asked. Nope. The Vast Sky Devil Emperor shook his head. Although the chances weren't small, from his perspective, he naturally didn't wish for Qin Wendian to take the risk. As long as he could safely wait for 9 years, he would follow Qin Wendian to the Immortal Realms. However, this is truly an interesting matter. I also hope that you can go and take a look. A group of geniuses from the Immortal Realms ascending the Devil Mountain. What does that mysterious young man want to see exactly? Using your existences to motivate the cultivators on the Devil Mountain? The Vast Sky Devil Emperor curiously asked. Do you also feel that those people I'm looking for would also head to the Devil Mountain? If you don't go, there will naturally be others. I'm guessing that the mysterious young man might have not only found you. The words of the Vast Sky Devil Emperor caused Qin Wendian to sink into contemplation. After a long time, he spoke, I need Senior to help me reconcile with the fallen Devil Emperor. Seems like you still decided to head there. The vast Sky Devil Emperor laughed, as though he had long guessed the answer. For a character like Qin Wentian, it was truly a pity for him to stay on the Fallen Devil Island or the vast Sky Devil Island. Only the vast Sky Devil Island was suitable for him. Most probably, he wouldn't be willing to be left alone. Right now, the appearance of the mysterious young man gave him an opportunity. It was only normal for him to want to head there. Can Senior continue to send people to help me monitor the situation in the Fallen Devil region? Qin Wentian was still a little worried even though Huang Shatian might have already prepared to leave the Fallen Devil region. I will help you settle these matters and also send people to follow you to the Myriad Devil Island. Just remember the agreement 9 years later. The vast Sky Devil Emperor calmly spoke. Many thanks, Senior Devil Emperor. Qin Wentian was sincerely grateful. He understood in his heart that the vast Sky Devil Emperor was already extremely benevolent towards him. He naturally also knew that this was the intelligence of the Devil Emperor. Since he promised him, he couldn't be bothered to play any tricks. In that case, he would naturally abide by his promise. On the contrary, if he failed to keep his promise, the vast Sky Devil Emperor would definitely let him know what the consequences were. On the second day, the vast Sky Devil Emperor headed to the Emperor Palace of the Fallen Devil Emperor to negotiate with him. The vast Sky Devil Emperor didn't have too many requests. He was willing to take the initiative to retreat, but the Fallen Devil Emperor wanted his people to continue searching for the person Qin Wentian wanted. The Fallen Devil Emperor didn't obstruct him. Naturally, in order to give face to the Fallen Devil Emperor, only the vast Sky Devil Emperor and the Fallen Devil Emperor participated in this negotiation. In that case, the Fallen Devil Emperor wouldn't be embarrassed. The Fallen Devil Emperor agreed to the vast Sky Devil Emperor's request. Since his strength was inferior, what could he do? If he didn't agree and the vast Sky Devil Emperor didn't retreat, there was nothing he could do. Today, the Fallen Devil Emperor, the vast Sky Devil Emperor, Qin Wentian and several devil kings arrived at a secret ground beneath the Emperor Palace of the Fallen Devil Emperor. There was an ancient gate in the secret ground, but there were no treasures within. There was only an ancient and mysterious grand formation. This grand formation was one that all the main islands of the Fallen Devil region would have. It was a grand formation that led to the Myriad Devil Island. You guys can go up first. The Fallen Devil Emperor spoke. Qin Wentian and the Devil Kings walked up the formation, and after that, the Fallen Devil Emperor activated the ancient formation. An incomparably intense light screen flashed as the entire underground palace shone with boundless spatial light. Numerous runic inscriptions flowed towards the formation, and with a terrifying spatial fluctuation, the entire Emperor Palace trembled. Qin Wentian and the others directly vanished from sight. In that case, are you satisfied now? The Fallen Devil Emperor coldly spoke. Old fellow, don't be angry. Although I might have gone a little overboard this time around, isn't the Myriad Devil Islands like this? To you, just treat this as a tempering of your heart. A junior has taught you a lesson, and naturally, he has also taught me a lesson as well. The vast Sky Devil Emperor calmly spoke, his words causing the eyes of the Fallen Devil Emperor to flash. After that, he bitterly smiled and shook his head as he walked out. After living for countless years and becoming a Devil Emperor, he was actually taught a lesson by a junior. Don't you feel that a brand new era might appear in the Immortal Realms and the Myriad Devil Islands? The vast Sky Devil Emperor suddenly spoke, his words causing the eyes of the Fallen Devil Emperor to flash. The opening of the Sacred Academy, the peak geniuses of the Immortal Realms heading to the Myriad Devil Islands to temper themselves, defeating Yulongxingtu, and the mysterious young man from the Devil Mountain inviting the other geniuses to head to the Myriad Devil Islands. All of these are extraordinary. The vast Sky Devil Emperor seemed to be mumbling to himself. The Immortal Realms and the Myriad Devil Islands, which have been peaceful for countless years, might be shaken by the arrival of the era of ancient emperors. The heart of the Fallen Devil Emperor trembled. The words of the vast Sky Devil Emperor seemed to contain a mysterious power. Everything started from a junior. Would it really be able to affect the progress of the era? All of this, Qin Wentian had no idea. Right now, he didn't think too far ahead. Other than pursuing the supreme path of cultivation, he had his own goal. In that case, he would do his best and advance forward. The Myriad Devil Island was the sacred island of the Myriad Devil Islands. It was rumored that this island was located in the sky. And on the Myriad Devil Island, there was a sacred ground, the Devil Mountain. Naturally, other than the Devil Mountain, there were also countless supreme characters of the Devil Path on the vast Myriad Devil Islands. There were simply too many terrifying characters on this island. Even for Devil Emperors, they couldn't be too high profile when they came to the Myriad Devil Island. If not, any random character they offended might have an unfathomable background. On the Myriad Devil Island, there was a grand formation known as the Myriad Devil Formation. This formation was a unidirectional teleportation array that connected all the devil regions of the Myriad Devil Islands. This grand formation was boundlessly vast. At this moment, a bright light flashed as several figures appeared, standing on top of the formation. Qin Wentian stared at the scene before him as his heart trembled. This grand formation enveloped an entire mountain range and was filled with boundless runic inscriptions. There were also experts guarding it, standing there like statues, exuding an unfathomable aura. Staring down from the mountain range, one could see a boundlessly vast devil city. This place was none other than the sacred island of the Myriad Devil Islands, the Myriad Devil Island. If his gaze continued forward, Qin Wentian could even see a mountain, a sacred mountain that led up to the sky. Is that the Devil Mountain? Qin Wentian mumbled. The Devil Mountain is everywhere, it might be very far away from us. A person beside him spoke. The Devil Mountain was the sacred ground of the Myriad Devil Islands. Leave quickly. A cold voice suddenly rang out, harsh and cold. Qin Wentian and the others immediately lifted their feet and flew forward, arriving in the airspace above the Myriad Devil Island. Qin Wentian glanced downwards. There were countless experts with high cultivation bases. Everyone could see Devil Foundation experts were the most common. With a single glance, there were Devil Kings everywhere. On this island, there was a high possibility that all the elites of the Myriad Devil Islands were gathered. Regardless of the Myriad Devil Islands or the Immortal Realms, there was no other place like this. The Sacred Island of the Myriad Devil Islands. Chapter 1293. This was a staircase formed from the will of the Myriad Devil Sovereign, a place of faith for countless Devil Islands. In his heart, he was filled with intense anticipation, wanting to ascend this Devil Mountain and see for himself what sort of place this sacred ground was exactly. The young immortal cultivator kowtowed to the immortal gate with incomparable respect before finally entering. At the foot of the Devil Mountain, countless figures were gathered, staring up at the Devil Mountain. Naturally, the Myriad Devil Sovereign is a supreme existence. His radiance envelopes the entire Myriad Devil Islands, preventing them from being invaded by the immortal realms. A Devil King at the side calmly spoke. The stairway of the Devil Mountain was incomparably heavy, as though there was a formless pressure pressing down on him. However, this didn't obstruct him as he continued on. Step by step, he resolutely continued upwards, and with every step he took, he felt as though he had entered an independent world. When he inclined his head, he could see the imposingness of the Devil Mountain towering in the air, exuding an air of divinity. Among these figures, there were Devil Foundation experts, Devil Kings, and even Devil Emperors. However, when Qin Wentian sat on the rock, the scene before his eyes instantly changed. The Devil's steps vanished and he suddenly saw two scenes. These two scenes were incomparably clear, as though they were imprinted into his mind, appearing right in front of him. If one wished to ascend the Devil Mountain, one must have an incomparably resolute will. Qin Wentian stood in the air, feeling somewhat lost. Did he have to choose? How should he choose? This is the path of changing fate, how can there be no price to pay? If you want to obtain greater benefits, you have to bear greater consequences. Isn't this a must? The Devil King stared at Nanfeng Ruoxuan. Nanfeng Ruoxuan was speechless. There were even experts around her who knelt and kowtowed to the Devil Mountain, prostrating themselves in worship. The devil-cultivating young man was extremely tenacious. His eyes were filled with stubbornness, saying that he wanted to become the future lord of the Devil Mountain. His talent was outstanding and he also joined the devil sect. The young devil cultivator also grew to become a hegemon of the devil sect. He challenged the devil sect leader and shocked the world with a single battle, defeating him fair and square, replacing him. The devil sect leader was defeated and a new one appeared, causing everyone to fear him. On the left was an immortal, and on the right was a demon. Time flowed by bit, incomparably dull. This time, Qin Wentian walked for several months. He walked to the point where he wanted to stop, to the point where he wanted to give up. Every time he inclined his head and stared at the Devil Mountain in the air, he would feel despair. The Devil Mountain was still as majestic as ever, as though it had never existed before. Two paths appeared in front of Qin Wentian. One was the celestial path, the other was the demonic path. Qin Wentian had to choose. After a long time, he was still there. The two paths were still before him, and he had to choose. There was no third path. All these scenes were so clear to Qin Wentian. Yet, he couldn't help but feel complicated in his heart. The island of 10,000 devils was a majestic place with as many experts as the clouds. Until they arrived at the foot of the Devil Mountain. As he walked, a powerful aura gushed over. Qin Wentian felt as though he had entered an illusory world once again. Although he was still walking, it was like he could see two young cultivators ascending the immortal and devil gates step by step. Qin Wentian continued upwards. He saw an empty space and there was a huge rock beside it. There was also a devil path carved on it. Lifting his foot, Qin Wentian walked over and sat down on the rock. Nanfeng Ruoxuan, Duan Qianshan, and the others all stepped forward. The Devil King stood there unmoving. Qin Wentian then spoke, "If Qin Wentian survives after ascending the Devil Mountain, I will definitely accomplish what I promised the Devil Emperor." As the sound of her voice faded, numerous gazes turned to her. Many of them flickered with cold devilish intent as a tyrannical aura swept over Nanfeng Ruoxuan. Finally, a day has arrived. This immortal cultivator who was revered by everyone, killed his master when he was cultivating in a secret location, stealing his treasures and plundering his cultivation art. After that, he returned to the immortal sect and used all the methods at his disposal to become the new master of the immortal sect. He was preparing to rest for a period of time to recover his devil energy before continuing onwards. The Devil Mountain had an endless stairway that led to the Devil Mountain in the air. It was rumored that this stairway was created by the myriad devil sovereign and was formed from his will. If one wanted to ascend the Devil Mountain, they had to pass through this stairway first. This was also known as the test of the myriad devil sovereign. The former was an immortal, the latter was a devil. The former was revered by the masses while the latter was feared by the myriad of devils. The myriad devil sovereign is truly an extraordinary existence. Qin Wentian mumbled. How vast was the myriad devil island? There were countless islands and countless devil cultivators. Some of them were bloodthirsty, some were crazy, but it was rumored that even those who were crazy and bloodthirsty would reveal expressions of sincerity when they came to this place of faith. Such faith was simply too terrifying. This wasn't rule, it was trust. The immortal sect leader sighed in sorrow and continued to nurture other disciples. Generation after generation, the second generation of disciples went on expeditions, tempering themselves, plundering and plundering. The sect grew stronger and stronger as more and more disciples died. The immortal sect leader grew stronger and stronger as his prestige grew higher and higher. Countless people prostrated themselves in worship. This time around, Qin Wentian discovered that the pressure was even stronger. Every step he took required a great deal of energy. His speed started to slow down and when he inclined his head, the Devil Mountain was still the same as before. It was like this for all eternity, there was no end to it. The two youths grew stronger and stronger bit by bit. The young immortal cultivator became more and more important in the immortal sect, becoming the leader of the younger generation. His radiance was dazzling, and the young devil cultivator also became the leader of the younger generation. They were revered by the army, and gradually, they climbed to the peak. Qin Wentian stared at the path ahead. There were countless devil cultivators here, and there would always be people walking towards the Devil Mountain, ascending the stairway. Only a small portion of them would be able to reach the peak. After walking on this path, everything returned to the starting point. Qin Wentian was still sitting on that gigantic rock, and there was a stairway before him. Who was the immortal and who was the devil? Qin Wentian didn't want to choose. He didn't want to walk on either of the two paths. Qin Wentian walked into the devil fog and arrived at the stairway leading to the Devil Mountain. After that, he lifted his foot and walked up. Qin Wentian and the devil kings beside him all had expressions of respect on their faces as they bowed in the direction of the Devil Mountain. Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath and stepped out. He chose the path to immortality. Closing his eyes, Qin Wentian quietly cultivated, recovering his strength. After a long time, he opened his eyes and lifted his foot again, continuing forward. The cultivation arts of devil cultivators are tyrannical and violent. One might even lose their rationality in their cultivation, causing them to be powerful yet cold. However, all of this is inevitable. If you don't have the slightest bit of respect, I advise you not to attempt to ascend the Devil Mountain. It's unknown how many experts have died on this path. A devil king beside her spoke, causing Nanfeng Ruoxuan to frown. There's no such terrifying place of faith in the immortal realms. If we're talking about conquering, it should be the myriad devil islands invading the immortal realms. Nanfeng Ruoxuan coldly spoke. The Namhuang clan had once waged war against the myriad devil islands. This caused the members of the Namhuang clan to view devil cultivators with even more hatred. The illusory Devil Mountain quietly stood there, attracting the worship of everyone. Qin Wentian discovered that countless devil cultivators were here. Maybe they were arrogant and tyrannical outside, but when they stared at the Devil Mountain, there was only reverence in their eyes. This place was the holy ground of the myriad devil islands, a place of faith for countless devil cultivators. The other scene was that of a devil sect. There was a devil expert who didn't accept disciples but recruited subordinates instead, making them fight for him. The strong would rise, the weak would retreat. The strong would survive, the weak would die. Those with battle merits would be rewarded. There were some who made mistakes and were killed by the devil sect leader in front of everyone, devouring their cultivation base, shocking everyone. Gradually, his subordinates grew incomparably fearful of him. He became a devil king of a generation and also nurtured a terrifying devil army. Since this is a place of faith for the myriad devil islands, why are you guys still so pious despite so many people dying on the way here? Nanfeng Ruoxuan wasn't convinced. Everyone was in awe of his strength and fear of his tyranny. These disciples tempered themselves in the outside world. Some became stronger, some died midway, but the immortal sect grew stronger and stronger. The sect leader then started to nurture the next batch of disciples. The talent of the young immortal cultivator was outstanding. He was highly regarded by his elders and was doted on and protected. His own cultivation speed was also extremely fast. The young devil cultivator's talent was also outstanding. He risked his life for the sake of the devil sect and achieved great merits. What was the difference between immortals and devils? The disciples of the previous generation were still fighting, tempering themselves, disregarding everything, fighting for the sect until the last disciple fell. After many steps, when he turned his head back again, he could no longer see the ground below, nor could he see the distance. He also couldn't see the people beside him. Only the towering Devil Mountain remained above his head. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. Devil cultivators were cold-blooded and tyrannical. Their cultivation arts were violent and they would kill at the slightest disagreement. However, they actually said that the myriad devil islands wouldn't be invaded by the immortal realms. The devil king behind him nodded lightly, sending Qin Wentian off with his gaze. In terms of intrinsic quality, what was the difference? Since they were already at the foot of the Devil Mountain, how could they miss out on such an opportunity? She was a peak-level Immortal Foundation character of the Namhuang clan. Although the Devil Mountain was a place of faith for the myriad Devil Islands, how could she not be able to ascend it? Qin Wentian continued up the mountain step by step. The Devil Mountain was still there, with no end in sight. Gradually, he had to circulate his immortal energy before he could resist the pressure and continue forward. This pressure was simply too terrifying. What would happen if I chose the devil path? Qin Wentian mused. The scene he experienced earlier was a huge impact to him. Although there was no difference between immortals and devils, he came from the immortal realms after all. He yearned to be an immortal and pursue his heart. Ultimately, he still chose the immortal path. However, Qin Wentian didn't have the time to savor it in detail. He followed the group of devil kings, ascending the Devil Mountain. Who was an immortal? Who was a devil? Let's go. Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath and continued forward. Shut up. A devil king beside him berated. Nanfeng Ruoxuan's eyes flashed with reluctance. However, this place was the sacred ground of the myriad Devil Islands. She wouldn't say anything. One of the scenes was a majestic immortal palace that resembled an immortal sect. The master of the sect guided his disciples, guiding them in their cultivation, nurturing them to become exceptionally powerful. As time flowed by, the disciples gradually grew stronger and stronger. The master ordered them to temper themselves, to go on expeditions, to plunder cultivation resources, to plunder treasures, to temper them. Chapter 1294. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. From the first scene to the second scene, each scene impacted his heart. That young man from the immortal sect, that genius from the devil's sect. Who was the immortal and who was the devil? He didn't know that Qin Wentian was at a loss. While he was at a loss, another path appeared before him. The immortal path and the devil path, one connecting to the immortal path, the other connecting to the devil path. The struggle in his heart was even more intense compared to the first time. However, at this moment, Qin Wentian thought of Qing'er and Qingcheng. They were all immortals, and they were all in the immortal realms. Also, many of his friends and family were all immortals. He grew up in an immortal world since young and stepped on the path of immortality. This time around, he still followed his heart and walked on the path of immortality. An incomparably heavy pressure suddenly bore down on him, causing him to collapse. His body fell onto the ground and rolled down the stairs. However, he soon stabilized himself and got up with great difficulty. He was still on the stairway, the Devil Mountain was still as tall as ever, towering in the sky, eternally so. Did I return again? If I choose the Devil Path, would I arrive at the Devil Mountain directly? Qin Wentian inclined his head and had a bitter smile on his face. Most probably, things wouldn't be so simple. However, he still followed his heart and continued forward. The Myriad Devil Sovereign was the faith of the Myriad Devil Islands, a supreme existence. It was rumored that this stairway was formed from the will of the Myriad Devil Sovereign. In that case, everything would be predestined. Qin Wentian wasn't the only one who ascended the stairway. There were even more devil cultivators. Those devil cultivators wouldn't have the same scene as him, right? Evidently, the test of the Devil Mountain was different for each individual. From the moment he stepped on the stairway, he was already transparent to the will of the Myriad Devil Sovereign. He was an immortal, not a devil. Qin Wentian continued walking, as though there would never be an end, never to rest. His spirit and energy were exhausted, but he still resolutely continued on. He had already stepped onto the path of the Devil Mountain. He could only advance, there was no room for retreat. He didn't know how long he had walked. In the end, he didn't even have a trace of strength. He could only rely on his strong willpower to walk forward. In fact, even his consciousness gradually turned blurry. It felt like he wasn't ascending the Devil Mountain but was in a dream of cultivation. In his dream, he continued to bitterly cultivate, growing stronger and stronger. The immortal realms kept changing, the myriad Devil Islands were also changing. However, everything was fine. Immortal cultivators cultivated immortal cultivation, devil cultivators cultivated devil cultivation. Until one day, the devil cultivators from the myriad devil islands invaded the immortal realms and started a brutal massacre on a certain major power. Qin Wentian personally witnessed the annihilation of an entire sect. The devil cultivators were tyrannical and cruel, they killed in a frenzy, regardless of who they were. A major power with countless people was completely annihilated. Qin Wentian was incomparably enraged. He wanted nothing more than to slaughter all the devil cultivators, leaving none alive. That group of devil cultivators were unbridled and tyrannical. They would kill anyone who dared to obstruct them, wreaking havoc on the myriad devil islands. Qin Wentian wanted nothing more than to use his own strength to eradicate the entire myriad devil islands. Finally, the slaughter by the devil cultivators incited the anger of the immortal realms. The various peak powers of the immortal realms gathered together and started to launch an attack on the myriad devil islands. They invaded the interior of the myriad devil islands and a huge battle erupted. This was an incomparably cruel battle. The myriad devil islands were forced to retreat unceasingly, all the way to the Devil Mountain. An incomparably majestic war between immortals and devils ended with the immortal realms emerging victorious. The flames of war engulfed every corner of the myriad devil islands. Qin Wentian's will seemed to have transformed into a heaven and earth, able to see every corner. He saw the people of the immortal realms starting to seize the spoils of war. They ran rampant on the various devil islands, killing the rulers of the devil islands or enslaving them. They plundered all the resources on the devil islands and slaughtered the devil cultivators of the myriad devil islands. They were the incarnations of justice and wanted to completely annihilate the devil cultivators of the myriad devil islands. In this scene, Qin Wentian saw the ordinary low-level Wu Xiu being easily killed. He saw an ordinary family that was originally living peacefully, but they were suddenly swept into this storm of justice and were destroyed. He saw too many cruel scenes. He even saw his friends, the Blackstone Devil King and the third princess Yan Yurua. The Blackstone Devil King resisted and was killed in a domineering manner. Yan Yurua survived because of her beauty, but she was taken away by those incarnations of justice. Qin Wentian's countenance turned pale. His heart was pounding violently. He wanted this storm to stop. When he saw the devil cultivators slaughtering the people of the immortal realms, he wanted nothing more than to kill them all. That was because they shared a common hatred for a common enemy. However, when he saw the slaughter, he started to doubt himself. When he saw the Blackstone Devil King and Yan Yurua, the impact in his heart reached the peak because they were his friends. Only when such things happened to him would he feel the most intense impact. Those ordinary devil cultivators, those innocent devil cultivators who died tragically, did they deserve to die? These immortal Wu Xiu who invaded the myriad devil islands, what was the difference between them and the devil cultivators who massacred the immortal realms back then? This scene continued. The myriad devil islands were on the path of destruction, the lives of the people were truly plunged into misery and suffering. He saw the earth being dyed red with blood. He saw the immortal Wu Xiu starting to occupy the myriad devil islands and divide them among themselves. After that, those victors who shared a common hatred for a common enemy started an internal war, causing a new war to erupt. But this time around, there were no more devil cultivators. There were only internal wars between the immortal realms and Wu Xiu. More and more powers were destroyed while more rose up. This was eternal. When the wheels of history rolled by, what was left behind was only piles of corpses. Qin Wentian was at a loss. He sighed, he doubted immortals, he doubted devils, and he doubted himself. However, at this moment, he discovered that everything was just a dream. Time seemed to have returned to the past, to the beginning of the immortal and devil war. Qin Wentian discovered that he possessed supreme strength, incomparably tyrannical, able to control the situation of the war. The experts of the immortal realms invited him to join their righteous crusade against the myriad devil islands. If it was before, he wouldn't hesitate to join this crusade. But now, he was hesitating. Should he join the war? Should he follow the great army of the immortal realms and slaughter the myriad devil islands? He entered the myriad devil islands alone and killed all the experts who fought in the immortal realms back then. After that, when he heard the pleas of countless experts, he sealed the devil wall of the myriad devil islands, making it even more sturdy. After that, he turned and departed. Everything seemed to have returned to the past. He, Qin Wentian, seemed to have transformed into the myriad devil sovereign, doing what the myriad devil sovereign did in the past, sealing the myriad devil islands. The scene collapsed, everything was like a dream. Qin Wentian stood under the blue sky, staring up at the sky. Above him, a shadow appeared. This shadow quietly stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke. What did you see? I saw the true nature of the cultivation world. Battles will never cease, good and evil will always exist. As long as one lives in this cultivation world, they would never be able to leave or be destroyed. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. Did you see immortals and devils? The shadow asked again. How can there be immortals and devils in this world? Qin Wentian sighed. The scene vanished as Qin Wentian's consciousness gradually returned. He was still ascending step by step, ascending the stairs. However, he discovered that his footsteps were getting lighter and lighter as his strength gradually returned to him. Inclining his head, he could already see the light. This stairway was no longer an endless stairway. Is this the Devil Mountain? Qin Wentian stared at the stairway. He wasn't in a hurry to ascend but sat down to cultivate instead, recovering his strength bit by bit. He discovered that 3 years had already passed on the Devil Mountain. He used a total of 3 years before he arrived here. He discovered that his cultivation base seemed to have deepened and his state of heart was different as well. He had improved by quite a bit. As his strength gradually recovered, Qin Wentian finally stood up. He lifted his feet and walked up the stairway. Very swiftly, he arrived at the top of the Devil Mountain. Instantly, the gazes of many landed on Qin Wentian. These people were currently sweeping the stairway leading to the Devil Gate. They were the guards stationed here. However, with a single glance, each and every one of them exuded a transcendent aura. In fact, Qin Wentian couldn't see through the cultivation bases of some of them. Such a group of experts was actually holding a broom and sweeping the stairway. This was simply unimaginable. However, the truth was right before his eyes. These people stared at Qin Wentian. Many of their eyes gleamed with sharpness. Who are you? Where did you come from? A devil king coldly asked. Qin Wentian, I come from the immortal realms. Qin Wentian slowly spoke, not hiding anything. As the sound of his voice faded, a terrifying aura instantly bore down on Qin Wentian. After that, a raging wind gusted on him, coldness to the extreme. Someone from the immortal realms actually dares to ascend the Devil Mountain. Courting death. An expert stepped out, exuding a fearsome aura. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. At this moment, a voice rang out, impudent. The eyes of everyone flashed, but after that, they froze in place. Don't forget your identities. You guys only ascended the Devil Mountain but you don't have the qualifications to become a disciple of the Devil Mountain. You also don't have the qualifications to act against those who ascended the mountain. That voice was cold and tyrannical. However, is he Wu Xiu of the immortal realms? An expert spoke unwillingly. Since he ascended the Devil Mountain, that means he has passed the test of the Myriad Devil Sovereign. The Myriad Devil Sovereign naturally has his reasons for guiding him up the mountain. When has it ever been your turn to act so impudently? The cold voice rang out. After that, a middle-aged man walked out from a devil gate. His eyes were cold to the extreme as he stared at the experts here. You, come with me. That person stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke. Qin Wentian nodded and followed behind him, entering the Devil Gate. He inclined his head and stared up at the mountain, where numerous majestic devil halls could be seen. On the Devil Mountain, there's a myriad devil hall. That expert pointed upwards as he spoke to Qin Wentian. You have passed the test of the Myriad Devil Sovereign, but it doesn't mean that the people of the Devil Mountain have acknowledged you as someone from the immortal realms. As for which devil hall you can enter, it still has to depend on yourself. Let's hope your luck isn't too bad. That expert pointed upwards as he spoke to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian shook his head with a bitter smile. He passed the test of the myriad devil sovereign and came to the Devil Mountain. But this didn't mean that the people of the Devil Mountain wouldn't feel hatred towards Wu Xiu. Chapter 1295. I don't want to join any of the devil halls. Qin Wentian suddenly spoke. The expert beside him stared at him with bewilderment in his eyes. This Wu Xiu actually said that he didn't want to join any of the devil halls. In the Fallen Devil region, I met a white-robed young man. He came from the Devil Mountain and told me that if I want to find some people, I can come to the Devil Mountain. Now that I'm here, how should I find the people I'm looking for? Qin Wentian asked. White-robed young man. The eyes of that expert flashed. Qin Wentian transmitted his immortal sense over, transforming into a projection. After that expert saw it, a smile appeared on his face as he shook his head. I don't know. You don't know? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. Someone who came down from the Devil Mountain shouldn't lie to me, right? He naturally has his own logic to his words. It's just that maybe the time isn't right yet. The expert beside him laughed. After that, his silhouette flashed as he directly departed, leaving behind only Qin Wentian. Staring at this Devil Mountain, there were countless devil halls here. With a single glance, there was basically no end to it. Maybe, the few devil halls at the very top will give you an answer. A voice drifted into Qin Wentian's mind. He inclined his head and stared at the few devil halls at the peak of the mountain. Would there be an answer there? Qin Wentian lifted his feet and walked over. The myriad devil islands had the myriad devil halls, but were there truly 10,000 devil powers? Clearly, it was impossible. Since this was the sacred ground of the myriad devil islands, there shouldn't be too many devil halls that could exist eternally on the Devil Mountain. Most of the devil halls weren't too vast, there might only be a single devil hall. There was a straight path leading to the devil hall at the very top. Qin Wentian lifted his feet and walked up. Numerous devil statues could be seen on the sides of the path, each of them exuded a powerful divine charm and were extremely lifelike. Qin Wentian could sense the devil will contained within them. As Qin Wentian continued upwards, the devil will unceasingly rushed into Qin Wentian's eyes. Immortals and devils clashed together, the energy he cultivated wasn't suitable for the will of the Devil Islands. Hence, he closed his eyes and continued upwards. His footsteps were extremely quick, wanting to reach the top as quickly as possible. He was filled with curiosity towards the devil halls on the Devil Mountain and wanted to see what sort of place it was exactly. From the devil halls on both sides, powerful devil wills gushed out unceasingly, sweeping over Qin Wentian. However, he didn't pay too much attention to them. Although it was difficult to ascend the Devil Mountain, given how many geniuses there were on the myriad devil islands, there would still be people who would ascend the mountain occasionally. It wasn't strange for Qin Wentian to appear here. At this moment, the roar of a dragon rang out. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over only to see a demonic dragon rushing out from the clouds of the Devil Mountain, directly descending on the mountain. The terrifying demonic dragon pulled the chariot upwards, exuding an incomparably imposing aura. It was like an emperor riding the chariot, patrolling the world. Qin Wentian frowned, staring at the figure in the chariot. It was actually someone he was familiar with, Yulong Xingtu. Yulong Xingtu was patrolling the myriad devil islands, monitoring everything under the heavens. Now that he returned, it just so happened that Qin Wentian ascended the Devil Mountain. The demonic dragon soared up. Yulong Xingtu, who was seated on the chariot, saw Qin Wentian. His eyes gleamed with a bright light as he roared. A moment later, the dragon of darkness roared unceasingly, shaking the heavens and earth as it sped towards Qin Wentian. Not long after, Yulong Xingtu arrived with his imperial dragon army. The gigantic dragon of darkness spat out its breath at Qin Wentian, exuding a terrifying sense of danger. You actually ascended the Devil Mountain? Yulong Xingtu's eyes were incomparably cold. That battle with Qin Wentian was a battle of humiliation for him. However, that young man who defeated him before actually ascended the Devil Mountain. Just like what he said, if he ascended the Devil Mountain one day, would he be an immortal or a devil? Qin Wendian smiled at Yulongshengtu. Being able to be so fearless on the Devil Mountain, seems like the status of the Devil Hall Yulongshengtu was in wasn't low. Roar! A dragon roar rang out. From both sides, more and more experts appeared, standing in the air as they stared at Qin Wendian. This young man who ascended the Devil Mountain seemed to have some grudges with Yulongshengtu. You are truly audacious. Yulongshengtu's voice was ice cold. You came from the immortal realms and are a heaven chosen from a peak power. What is your purpose for coming to the Devil Mountain? Immortal realms Wuxiu. Also, he is from a peak power of the immortal realms? The eyes of everyone flashed. Let's go to the Devil Hall at the top to take a look. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. Ha, stealing the cultivation arts of my Devil Mountain? Trying to pry into the secrets of my Devil Mountain? Yulongshengtu's eyes were cold to the extreme. If it wasn't for the fact that killing is forbidden on the Devil Mountain, you would already be dead now. Scram down the mountain yourself and never come back here again. Qin Wendian stared at Yulongshengtu as a mocking expression appeared on his face. He then continued, I passed the test of the myriad Devil Sovereign and ascended the Devil Mountain. Why do you give me the feeling that you are the master of this Devil Mountain? Also, using such an attitude to speak to me, don't you feel any shame in your heart? Don't forget how arrogant you were back then, how you were defeated by me. Yulongshengtu was defeated by him before. The crowd was in an uproar. For this generation of Devil Foundation experts on the Devil Mountain, although Yulongshengtu couldn't be considered a character at the peak, his talent and strength were naturally extraordinary since he represented the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall in the Myriad Devil Islands. Right now, Yulongshengtu was already a 9th-level Devil Foundation expert. Yet, he was actually defeated. If you know how the word shame is written, just scram. Qin Wendian lifted his foot and continued upwards, ignoring Yulongshengtu and the others. Roar! A dragon roar shook the sky. Yulongshengtu coldly spoke, if an immortal Wuxiu is allowed to ascend to the Devil Hall at the peak of the Devil Mountain, that would be a humiliation to all of you, as well as a humiliation to our myriad Devil Islands. As the sound of Yulongshengtu's voice faded, several experts walked out from the path Qin Wendian took. Their cultivation bases were all at the peak of Devil Foundation. If they weren't at this level, they wouldn't step out to obstruct Qin Wendian. Since you are the immortal Wuxiu of the immortal realms, just descend the mountain. A devil cultivator coldly spoke. The myriad Devil Sovereign allowed me to come here, how can I not go up to take a look? Qin Wendian calmly spoke, his footsteps didn't stop. If you continue upwards from here, you will have to reach the Devil Hall at the peak of the mountain. Do you know how many Devil Halls there are and how many statues there are? Do you think it's possible to ascend? That devil cultivator's voice was ice cold. Only to see that at different levels above him, more and more people stepped out, blocking Qin Wendian's path. At this moment, Qin Wendian was even more certain that different people would have different experiences if they ascended the Devil Mountain. The test of the myriad Devil Islands for him was to question immortals and devils. However, he had never tried to interrogate the hearts of the devil cultivators of the myriad Devil Islands. These junior devil cultivators still had an instinctive aversion to the immortal realms. Such emotions would cause them to always be on guard against Wuxiu. At the same time, the sense of danger would also cause them to put in more effort in their cultivation. Even if there are millions of devil halls, millions of statues, and there is a devil cultivator standing on each statue, I will still ascend the mountain eventually. Qin Wendian quietly spoke. He lifted his foot and continued forward. His aura circulated as law energy gushed forth, permeating the surroundings. That powerful body of laws gave off a feeling of indestructibility. In Qin Wendian's hands, a black ancient halberd appeared, gleaming with destructive dark golden light. Boom! The devil cultivator above unleashed a terrifying aura. Qin Wendian's silhouette flashed, resembling a great rock. The ancient halberd in his hand pierced out, and in an instant, the shadow of a great rock bloomed. Demonic arts had long been infused into his halberd technique. Terrifying law energy gushed forth, instantly burying the devil cultivator in front of him, destroying all his attacks. With a boom, that devil cultivator was flung through the air as a statue beside him shattered into pieces. This man is a peak-level genius of the immortal realms, from one of the strongest powers in the immortal realms. He came to my devil mountain with ulterior motives. Yulong Xingtu stood on his dragon of darkness as he coldly spoke. More and more experts stood on that path. Everyone who ascended the devil mountain were all extremely outstanding geniuses. But today, the person standing before them was none other than Qin Wentian from the immortal realms. He was a terrifying existence that could kill 9th-level geniuses when he was only at the 7th level of Immortal Foundation. His ancient halberd stabbed out again and again. Each time he did so, a different greater demon would appear. Dragons, vermilion birds, great rock, divine elephants that could suppress everything. Qin Wentian continued upwards. Even if the entire mountain is filled with devil cultivators, they still won't be able to obstruct my heart. The ancient halberd in Qin Wentian's hand shone with boundless light. He struck out once more, causing a terrifying destructive demon dragon to shake the heavens and earth, blasting a devil cultivator through the air. At this moment, Qin Wentian was like a devil god. Everywhere he passed by, none of the devil cultivators could resist him. On the path to the peak of the devil mountain, numerous devil cultivators were flung through the air. Devil kings didn't interfere, and devil foundation experts were unstoppable. Everyone already knew that Qin Wentian had defeated Yulong Xingtu before and naturally knew how strong he was. But they didn't expect him to be this strong. In a devil hall at the peak of the devil mountain, an old man stood there with a smile on his face. He lowered his head and stared at Qin Wentian's battlefield. He then laughed in a low voice, "I asked you if you wanted to kill all the geniuses in the immortal realms. Yet, you actually lured them all to the devil mountain." The person he was referring to was naturally the white-robed young man from back then. Right now, that white-robed young man had long left the devil mountain and was in the immortal realms. However, a wuxiu from the immortal realms ascended the stairway, using an ancient halberd to defeat all the devil cultivators. This is also an extremely interesting matter. That old man continued mumbling to himself, a faint smile could be seen in his eyes. This wasn't the first immortal realm genius who ascended the devil mountain. About 2 years ago, there was one who only used a single day to ascend the mountain. Chapter 1296. The devil mountain was in chaos. Qin Wentian wielded an ancient halberd as he ascended the mountain, moving towards the devil hall at the peak. Countless devil cultivators stood on the ancient pathway, none of them could obstruct him. The ancient halberd gleamed with a dark golden light, formed from the energy of his astral souls. It contained a terrifying destructive might, and every time it slashed out, it would be unleashed by his fiend god body. With God's hand, the might of the great Tao was at the extreme. Even for the elites of the devil mountain, there was no one who could defend against it. Yulong Xingtu had an unsightly expression on his face. The dragon of darkness below him roared, staring at Qin Wentian as he slaughtered his way up. No one could obstruct him. Rumble. At this moment, Qin Wentian slashed out with his halberd again, injuring a devil cultivator in front of him. After that, he inclined his head and stared at the air as he coldly spoke, "You are merely a defeated opponent, why must you send yourself to be defeated? The myriad devil sovereign can even accept me, a wuxiu of the immortal realms, yet these juniors of the devil mountain are like mantises trying to stop a chariot. The knowledge of humans is truly related to their cultivation bases. Are you saying that the devil cultivators of my mountain have no knowledge?" Yulong Xingtu roared in rage. As the sound of his voice rang out, the devil might radiating from many of the devil cultivators grew even stronger. However, when they saw Qin Wentian ascending step by step, their hearts were filled with shock. Seems like what Yulong Xingtu said was true. This man was a genius at the peak of the immortal realms and was definitely from a supreme power. Why would the myriad devil sovereign allow an immortal wuxiu to pass his test? after arriving at the peak of the Devil Mountain. If you continue to block my path, I won't show mercy. Qin Wentian's voice was cold, sweeping upwards. From above, several devil cultivators descended. Their eyes were cold, exuding devil might. They knew that if they continued to block Qin Wentian, it would be impossible for them to do so. Most probably, they would have to join forces to attack him. Upon seeing this scene, Qin Wentian released his perfect immortal foundation. Instantly, boundless light enveloped him as the shadow of a great rock appeared, dragging Qin Wentian along with it. The wings of the great rock fluttered and instantly, Qin Wentian transformed into a beam of light, shooting up into the air. Everywhere the ancient halberd passed, a demonic dragon, rock, black tortoise, divine elephant, vermilion bird, Kirin, true Ho, and chaos appeared. A terrifying vortex appeared ahead, with the ancient halberd as the center. The 8 demons revolved around it, and even before the ancient halberd touched the bodies of those devil cultivators, they already felt their bodies trembling uncontrollably. All of their attacks and defenses were shattered into pieces. Yulong Shengtu's countenance instantly changed. He could sense the vortex in front of the ancient halberd. The 8 greater demons opened up a path, swallowing the heavens and earth, exuding boundless might. The devil cultivators ahead were all sucked into the vortex as they screamed in agony. However, after that, they were all flung through the air. Qin Wentian still used external force to repel them, he didn't kill them. The devil cultivators above unceasingly retreated, opening up a path for him. Numerous statues exploded, and numerous devil cultivators were heavily injured. When the shadow of the great rock stopped, Qin Wentian also halted. Behind him, a large number of devil cultivators had already collapsed. Qin Wentian didn't turn his head. He only stared at the devil cultivators ahead. With the ancient halberd in his hands, he continued forward. When he passed by a devil cultivator, that devil cultivator didn't move, he merely stared at him as he continued on his way. Qin Wentian simply walked step by step through the crowd. Nobody obstructed him. All of a sudden, a devil cultivator suddenly acted. When Qin Wentian passed by him, that devil cultivator slashed out with an incomparably fast speed, akin to a black-colored bolt of lightning. Boom! The devil saber slashed onto Qin Wentian's body, but it felt like it had slashed an incomparably tough divine weapon. The saber actually had no way to penetrate through. That devil cultivator launched a sneak attack. How could it break through Qin Wentian's fiend-godlike body? At the peak level of Immortal Foundation, right now Qin Wentian's defense had already reached a terrifying level. Qin Wentian's ancient halberd was like a sharp sword as he slashed out. Just as the devil saber was about to land on his body, a line of blood appeared as the devil cultivator screamed in agony, almost losing his life. However, Qin Wentian acted like he didn't see it. He continued on his way up. No one continued to launch sneak attacks. Everyone seemed to understand that unless there were a few people who walked out from the devil halls at the peak of the Devil Mountain, there was basically no one who would be able to obstruct this immortal realm wuxiu. Someone from the immortal realms was able to pass the test set by the myriad devil sovereign. As expected, he had shocking talent. Yulong Shengtu turned ashen. He finally saw Qin Wentian's combat prowess more clearly. This fellow from the immortal realms, even on the Devil Mountain, it wasn't an easy thing to find someone who could defeat him at the Devil Foundation realm. He could only watch on helplessly as Qin Wentian continued on his way up. Because, although it wasn't forbidden to fight on the Devil Mountain, under normal circumstances, Devil Kings were forbidden from acting against the Devil Foundation wuxiu. Right now, Qin Wentian was already standing on the peak of the Devil Mountain. In that case, Yulong Shengtu couldn't command Devil Kings to act against him unless he himself could defeat Qin Wentian. There was no one ahead. Although the path was long, he would eventually arrive at his destination. Qin Wentian got closer and closer to the peak. He could finally sense the majestic aura emanating from the devil halls. Finally, the path became extremely wide, leading to different directions. Each direction led to a different devil hall on the mountain peak. When viewed from below, the devil halls were lined up in a row. But when viewed from above, the distance between the devil halls was extremely far. At this moment, from one direction, a figure could be seen flying over. He sped towards the direction where Qin Wentian was at. Qin Wentian also saw this figure. When he saw the other party, his gaze froze, filled with bewilderment. Finally, this figure arrived before him and patted Qin Wentian on his shoulder. "I knew you would come here. It's just that I didn't expect you to be so slow. This Myriad Devil Islands is truly not a good place, the Devil Mountain is the same as well." "When did you come?" Qin Wentian asked in astonishment. "I've been here for over 2 years." The other party replied. 2 years? Qin Wentian's gaze froze. He then asked, "How long did you take to ascend the Devil Mountain?" "A day." The other party replied. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he stared at the monk motionlessly. This monk used a single day to ascend the Devil Mountain. So the person in front of him was actually the monk Bujie from Wenxin Temple. That extremely shameless monk Bujie. He said that he used a day to ascend the Devil Mountain. "You're not lying to me?" Qin Wentian had a look of suspicion on his face. "What's there to lie to you about? Don't tell me, just talking about this makes me feel depressed. Tell me, is the Myriad Devil Sovereign sick? What kind of test is that? The Buddhist Tao and Devil Tao are all related to life and death. What does it have to do with me? Who asked me to walk that path when I was born? I accidentally walked up the Devil Mountain and you call that a test? Only an idiot wouldn't pass." Bujie cursed in a depressed manner. It was like his intelligence had been greatly insulted. Qin Wentian's face was filled with black lines. He looked at Bujie and felt his heart twitching. How could there be such a shameless monk in the world? This bastard monk was even someone with outstanding talent in Wenxin Temple and was doted on by his 2 senior brothers. This was simply a humiliation to the Buddhist sect, a humiliation to Wenxin Temple. Why? Don't tell me you spent a few years. Bujie saw Qin Wentian's lips twitching. His eyes flashed as he asked weakly. "No, how could that be?" Qin Wentian saw Bujie's gaze gradually turning into extreme disdain. He couldn't help but speak. If he said that he spent 3 years to ascend the Devil Mountain, it was unknown how much disdain he would receive from this shameless monk. "Really?" Bujie looked seriously at Qin Wentian. "Yes." Qin Wentian nodded seriously. "I naturally believe in you. If you are like those mediocre people who spent half a year to a year before you could ascend the Devil Mountain, you would truly be trash." Bujie spoke in a light voice. He even intentionally repeated, "Yes, trash. This shameless monk." Qin Wentian cursed Bujie in his heart. Could this monk be doing this on purpose? "Brother Qin, am I right?" Bujie asked innocently. "Yes." Qin Wentian nodded. After that, he changed the topic. "You have already stayed on the Devil Mountain for 2 years. How have you been? Don't mention it." The people on the Devil Mountain are all dumbfounded because they believe in the Myriad Devil Sovereign. Those people from the Devil Hall told me that I'm very suitable to inherit their Devil Tao and can comprehend the ancient Devil Will. But I'm a Buddhist cultivator, how can I be suitable? Those fellows said that it's because I've cultivated the Buddhist cultivation art that I'm more suitable. They want me to stay on the Devil Mountain to receive the inheritance of their Devil Hall and even want to pass the position of the Devil Hall Lord to me. Don't you think that's a little silly? Bujie spoke in a low voice. Qin Wentian blinked and asked, "Then are you going to cultivate or not? Aren't you asking obvious questions? As a Buddhist cultivator, an esteemed monk of the Wenxin Temple, how can I not cultivate devil arts after coming to this place? Only by understanding them can I enlighten them. If I don't enter hell, who would?" Bujie spoke righteously. Qin Wentian almost coughed out a mouthful of old blood. Being able to be as shameless as Bujie was also a type of talent. "Aren't you worried that Buyu and Reverend Buchan would scold you?" Qin Wentian asked. "Don't mention those 2 smelly monks. They actually had the heart to toss such an outstanding junior apprentice brother of theirs into the myriad devil islands instead of coming here with me. They have no sense of brotherhood at all. I will never recognize them as my senior apprentice brothers again. Bujie ruthlessly spoke. Junior brother, are you talking about me? At this moment, another voice rang out. A powerful devil king walked over and soon arrived here. Junior brother, why aren't you cultivating properly? Why are you here again? Greetings, senior brother. Bujie immediately turned and respectfully greeted with a smile on his face. Before this, Bujie was still asking if these devil cultivators had become stupid. But in the blink of an eye, his attitude had completely changed, completely refreshing Qin Wentian's understanding of shamelessness. Junior brother has comprehended something during these few days, so I came here to relax. Bujie said gently. So that is the case. This is. That devil king looked at Qin Wentian and asked. This is Qin Wentian's brother Qin, my friend. Although his talent is slightly lower than mine, he is still top-notch. Bujie spoke calmly. The devil king nodded. To be able to receive such praise from junior brother, he must be really talented. Qin Wentian stood there and had an urge to die. How did he get to know such a shameless monk? Chapter 1297. Monk Bujie was one of the outstanding Buddhist cultivators of the Askhart temple. He was said to be proficient in all arts of the Buddhist sect, and he didn't speak or get angry. Two powerful cultivators from the Buddhist sect doted on him and even acted as his protector. From this, one could see how high Bujie's status was in the Askhart temple. However, this smelly monk was shameless to the extreme. He didn't have the bearing of a senior monk at all. From the looks of it, he was already on the path of devil cultivation, never to return. Qin Wentian was thinking in his heart, was this the fortune of the devil hall or was it a calamity for the devil hall? That devil cultivator whom Bujie referred to as senior brother glanced below. It was unknown how many people were injured along the way. Qin Wentian actually fought his way up. This was much more impressive compared to his junior brother Bujie back then. Back then when Bujie ascended the Devil Mountain, how would he dare to claim that he was Wuxiu of the Buddhist path? He would politely greet everyone he met along the way. This devil cultivator still remembered the first time he met Bujie and felt that his junior brother was truly an obedient and gentle cultivator. You are also a Buddhist cultivator? That devil king stared at Qin Wentian as his eyes gleamed with light. Qin Wentian shuddered. Why did this devil king seem to be extremely interested in Buddhist cultivators? Buddha and devil were even on opposite sides, yet he didn't mind at all. How was he like those people below him who were filled with hatred for him? Nope. Qin Wentian shook his head. What a pity. But since junior brother Bujie admires you so much, why don't you head to the myriad ancient devil hall together with me? That devil king extended an invitation to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian didn't expect that it would be so easy to enter the devil hall despite how difficult it was to ascend. It's one thing for the myriad ancient devil hall to research the cultivation of ancient devils. But why do you still want to accept Wuxiu from the immortal realms? Yulong Shengtu flew over on his dragon as he coldly spoke. The matters of my myriad ancient devil hall, since when is it your turn to interfere? That devil king glanced over. He was like an ancient devil as he stared at Yulong Shengtu. The demonic dragon beneath Yulong Shengtu let out a series of roars, yet that devil king was still coldly staring at him. Humph. Yulong Shengtu was speechless. The devil halls didn't interfere too much with each other. This was especially so for the mysterious myriad ancient devil hall. They had always been extremely strange. I've never seen such a meddlesome person. Qin Wentian shook his head and said to the demon king, I will consider your suggestion carefully. As he spoke, he transmitted his voice to Bujie. Why did you come to the Devil Mountain? Did someone ask you to come here? Before this, I kept a low profile in the fallen devil region. After that, I met a mysterious white-robed young man and he told me to come to the Devil Mountain. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. That mysterious white-robed young man actually managed to find Bujie. In that case, it was very possible that he had found all the peak geniuses of the immortal realms who entered the myriad devil islands. Wasn't that mysterious fellow a little too terrifying? Inclining his head, Qin Wendian stared at Yulong Shengtu as he asked, "Back then, the person who asked me to come to the Devil Mountain and chase you away should also be a cultivator from the Devil Mountain, right? Which devil hall is he from?" Yulong Shengtu's eyes turned cold when he thought of that person. That bastard, if it wasn't for him, he would have already ordered his men to kill Qin Wendian on the fallen Devil Island. How would Qin Wendian have the chance to enter the Devil Mountain? Qin Wendian saw that Yulong Shengtu didn't reply. He used his immortal sense to form a projection and asked the Devil King, "Senior, is that person?" "Yeah." That Devil King narrowed his eyes. After that, he replied, "He's someone from the Apostle Devil Hall." Apostle Devil Hall? Qin Wendian's eyes flashed. Yes, the Apostle Devil Hall. The people of this hall are known as apostles. The white-robed young man you met is none other than an apostle. He should have left the Devil Mountain to roam around. That Devil King stared at Qin Wendian as he spoke. These people from the immortal realms were actually recruited by an apostle. This was truly interesting. But this was fine as well. Since they were recruited by an apostle, there shouldn't be any problems for them to join their Devil Hall. As people of the myriad ancient Devil Hall, they had absolute faith in the myriad Devil Sovereign. Since they managed to ascend the Devil Mountain under the test of the myriad Devil Sovereign, what doubts would they have? So what if Qin Wendian was Wuxiu? So what if Qin Wendian was a Buddhist cultivator? He had never seen a devil cultivator as suitable as Bujie to inherit their myriad ancient Devil Hall. The Apostle Devil Hall is one of the hardest Devil Halls to enter. They won't recruit people passively. Even if you kneel outside like those descendants of devil emperors, it would be useless. Only when they find you, would you become their apostle. That Devil King continued. Up there, what other devil halls are there? Qin Wendian pointed to the air as he spoke. Apostle Devil Hall, Myriad Ancient Devil Hall, Imperial Dragon Devil Hall, Sky Devil Hall, Judiciary Devil Hall, Darkness Devil Hall as well as the Saint Devil Hall. That Devil King slowly spoke. A total of 7 Devil Halls. Judiciary Devil Hall. Qin Wendian's eyes flashed with sharpness. Back then in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, he seemed to have met someone from the Judiciary Devil Hall before. Why? You want to join the Judiciary Devil Hall? That Devil King stared at Qin Wendian. I advise you to give up. The Judiciary Devil Hall is the same as the Apostle Devil Hall, they don't recruit outsiders. Only those who obtained the inheritance of the Judiciary Devil Hall would be accepted. Naturally, if you are just an ordinary guard, you might have a chance. Which Devil Hall is the strongest? Qin Wendian curiously asked. The Saint Devil Hall is the hall where the myriad Devil Sovereign was born. It is a place of faith, and when the Devil Mountain was established, there were only 3 other Devil Halls supporting the Saint Devil Hall. The Apostle Devil Hall, Judiciary Hall, and Darkness Hall. The Devil King slowly spoke to Qin Wendian. The apostles of the Apostle Devil Hall roamed the world, spreading faith and observing the world. They are the apostles of the Apostle Devil Hall. The Judiciary Devil Hall is in charge of judgment, they are the Punishment Devil Hall. Under their judgment, no one would dare to disobey. The Darkness Devil Hall is in charge of darkness, their eyes are filled with darkness and they walk in the darkness. As time flowed by, the supreme experts of the Devil Mountain fell one after another. The blue sea turned into mulberry fields and the Devil Mountain changed, giving birth to our myriad ancient Devil Hall. We are able to see the glory of the ancestors of the Devil Mountain and inherit the power of ancient devils. We are one of the most important Devil Halls of the Devil Mountain. The Imperial Dragon Devil Hall controlled the Darkness Devil Dragon and started to monitor the world on behalf of the apostles. Hence, the people who walk here are known as the Imperial Dragon Saint. In the past, they could be said to be the vassals of the Apostle Devil Hall, but after a powerful character appeared, they became independent and became the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall. The Sky Devil Hall was also one of the devil halls at the peak of the Devil Mountain after a powerful devil cultivator appeared. Qin Wendian quietly listened. From the Devil King's words, he faintly understood the structure of the Devil Mountain. The Saint Devil Hall was a place of faith, the place where the myriad devil sovereign resided. Right now, it might only exist as a form of faith. The Apostle Devil Hall, Judiciary Devil Hall, Darkness Devil Hall, these three halls were orthodox devil halls and had already existed when the Devil Mountain was first established. Their statuses were naturally the highest. Since the Apostle and Judiciary Devil Halls didn't recruit disciples passively, the Darkness Devil Hall should be the same as well. The Myriad Ancient Devil Hall existed purely for the sake of ancient devils. Their mission was to pass on the power of the supreme existences who had disappeared from the Devil Mountain back then. This was an extremely unique devil hall, and yet, the monk Bujie was regarded highly by the Myriad Ancient Devil Hall, and he even had the possibility to inherit the Myriad Ancient Devil Hall. The Imperial Dragon Devil Hall and Sky Devil Hall were established purely because of the birth of supreme experts. Just think about it, if a supreme devil emperor was born from the thousands of devil halls below, the status of the devil hall would also be raised to another level. In fact, they might even have the chance to ascend to the peak of the Devil Mountain and establish a devil hall there. However, the myriad devil islands and Devil Mountain had already existed for countless years, but there were only 3 devil halls at the peak of the Devil Mountain. From this, one could very well imagine how difficult it was. "Senior, I wish to go up and take a look." Qin Wendian spoke to the Devil King. After 3 years of tempering on the Devil Mountain, his view of immortals and devils was very indifferent. Regardless of the immortal realms or the myriad devil islands, there was no difference in terms of essence. It was just that the location was different. There was no need for him to care about immortals and devils. Becoming an immortal with a single thought, becoming a devil with a single thought. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor was an immortal emperor respected by countless people. Back then, when he started the war in his particle world, he had never cared about the lives of the ordinary people. Right now, Qin Wendian was extremely curious about the devil halls on the Devil Mountain. "Might as well, you can go and take a look." The Devil King spoke to Qin Wendian. "You are not going to accompany me to the myriad ancient devil hall for cultivation?" Bujie stared at Qin Wendian as he spoke. "The myriad ancient devil hall has many inheritances, but if you can obtain the power of ancient devils, it would be the strongest devil hall on the Devil Mountain. It would truly be a pity if you don't go." The Devil King from the myriad ancient devil hall felt extremely satisfied when he heard this. He then replied, "Junior brother's words are logical." Qin Wendian was gradually immune to Bujie's shamelessness. He then spoke, "Let's take a look first before considering. In any case, given how powerful the myriad ancient devil hall is, I might not be able to gain their favor. Brother Qin, you still have some self-awareness. After all, not everyone can be like me." Bujie patted Qin Wendian on his shoulder as he spoke. "Shameless." Yulong Xingtu, who was in the air, coldly spoke. However, he couldn't do anything to these two. "No wonder you were so afraid of that white-robed young man back then. So this is the case." Qin Wendian glanced at Yulong Xingtu before he lifted his foot and continued upwards. The people from the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall all had cold expressions on their faces, gleaming with sharpness. Qin Wendian continued upwards, gradually reaching the peak of the Devil Mountain. When he stared at the majestic devil halls, a hint of respect actually appeared in his heart. Respect towards the myriad devil sovereign. Establishing the myriad devil islands, using the Devil Mountain as a place of faith. As long as his voice rang out from the Devil Mountain, he would be able to command the entire myriad devil islands. Such faith was simply too terrifying. Qin Wendian saw many devil cultivators outside the devil halls. Some of them were bowing, and some were even kneeling, wanting to enter the devil halls. "That place is the Imperial Dragon Devil Hall." Bujie pointed in the direction of a devil hall. "For a character like Yulong Xingtu, let's forget about this devil hall." Qin Wendian shook his head. The eyes of Yulong Xingtu, who was in the air, were filled with killing intent. He wanted to see how